and ask for the 99.9 The Fan Special. Spell it backward or forward, it spells the same, zero res.
Attention watch enthusiasts and collectors. Bailey's Fine Jewelry invites you to an exclusive pre-owned Rolex event happening for 2 days only, March 21st and 22nd at their Village District location in Raleigh. Discover North Carolina's largest selection of vintage and pre-owned Rolex timepieces, featuring sought-after models like the Daytona and Submariner, and collector favorites like the iconic Pepsi and Hulk. Whether you're a seasoned collector or searching for your very first Rolex, this is your chance to explore an unmatched collection, March 21st and 22nd, only at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District. Visit BaileyBox.com for event details. Your perfect Rolex awaits.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
For me, Duke has meant everything. Not just the school. Obviously, I went here and I have a lot of great experiences, but it's the people. You know, it's the people that have supported you in key moments along the way. I think back to my playing days, and obviously that's Coach K and the coaching staff and my teammates. I think back to coming on staff here and this transition, which has been crazy. And then just the support from Duke fans all over the world showing up for us means a lot. And then supporting us, understanding we're building something special. And I think you can see that with this group.
Duke, your 2025 ACC Tournament champions, your ACC regular season champions. Will they be national champions? Their journey, I would say, continues in the state of North Carolina. Duke will be in Raleigh for first and second round action of the NCAA Tournament. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. Victoria Vodenecker, she is producing the show as always.
We're both wearing our green.
We are. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. Go to their YouTube page. You can actually stream and watch us live.
Yeah.
On YouTube. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And I want to know your thoughts. Do UNC deserve to make it to the NCAA Tournament? That's the big topic of conversation. Let's get this sucker started.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started in here.
North Carolina. The Tar Heels of the field of 68. They were team number 68 to get in. The last team into the dance. The last ones into the ball. The last ones to get their way past the bodyguard into the club.
Scrape by.
Exactly. Hey, you're in, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
That is all that matters. Where you're seated, at this point, it doesn't. It really, in my opinion, it really doesn't matter where you get seated, as long as you get in. And that's the big topic of conversation right now. I was actually, two things. By the way, two things can be true. One, I didn't think North Carolina was going to get in. I just didn't think they had done enough in terms of quality wins. We'll dive into that here in a second. I didn't think they had done enough over the last 10 games where they went 8 of 10. Both their losses coming to Duke. I didn't think they had done enough. But Victoria, you're into combat sports, mixed martial arts. You hear UFC fighters say it all the time. Mm-hmm. Never leave it in the hands of the judges.
Don't do it.
Because you don't know what humans are going to see.
Never a good idea.
You don't always know what they're thinking, what they're going to see.
And everybody else can see it, and they might not.
Everyone else can see it, or they just see it differently. So, yes, a lot of people were shocked that UNC got in over schools like West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, Ohio State, while other schools along with UNC, Xavier, San Diego State, squeaking by and getting in. Sean Farnham, ESPN, discuss what shocked him about the bracket, including the Tar Heels.
One of it was that has to be a typo. North Carolina can't possibly be in this NCAA tournament field because they had ample opportunities to improve their resume. The fact that West Virginia is not with 6 quad 1 wins and North Carolina is with 1, and if they thought so highly of the ACC, how is an 18-win Louisville team an 8 seed? So if you don't value the ACC with Louisville, who won 18 games in conference play and had a great non-conference, what you're telling me is North Carolina scheduled its way in because it had the 5th hardest non-conference schedule. The problem is they only won one of those games that mattered. Mm-hmm. So, when you talk about 2 wins against the field, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And there are other teams I thought were more rewarded for this. And this is an example of why we don't need to expand the tournament. Because we're looking at this resume and going, yes, this is a tournament, the NCAA tournament team. To me, it's about being elite. This North Carolina team is not elite.
Okay, not elite. I could also probably say Boise State and Indiana aren't elite teams either. Okay, so you can split hairs in that regard. Now, I did say, in my opinion, seeding overall at the end of the day does not matter, but I will say I was surprised that Louisville was just an 8 seed, especially since they finished second in the regular season in the ACC, or tied for second with Clemson, beat Clemson in the regular season, beat Clemson again in the ACC tournament and got to the ACC championship game and still only ended up being an 8 seed. But that's the big gripe against Carolina. Well, is there a conflict of interest? Well, you can easily make that point. Who's the chair of the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee? It's Bubba Cunningham, North Carolina Athletic Director.
He might have a horse in the race.
He might. Now, to be fair, anytime in the selection committee, if your school is discussed, you must remove yourself from the room. Hey, we're about to talk about North Carolina, how they compare to the other teams. Bubba Cunningham has to get up and leave the room. So again, even though he might not be in the room, there is still the human element to all of this selection. And that has to play a factor. It just does. Now, Keith Gill, who is the vice chair, who's the commissioner of the Sun Belt Athletic Conference, on CBS yesterday on their selection show, discussed the Tar Heels being selected into the NCAA tournament and how the Tar Heels almost didn't make it.
As the vice chair, I managed all the conversations that we had about North Carolina, and we had quite a few. Our policies require the AD of any school to recuse themselves and actually leave the room for those discussions, and they're not allowed to participate in any vote as well. So we followed those, had lots of discussions about North Carolina. Saturday night we took our final vote, and we voted in 4 teams in the field on Saturday night, and we had a contingency vote. And the contingency vote, that was the last team in the field. And it was based on Memphis and UAB. If Memphis won that game, then that was going to free up a spot in the tournament, and that was going to be North Carolina. If UAB had won, then Memphis was going to be in the tournament, UAB would have been in the tournament, and North Carolina would have been the first team out. And so that process played out today. Memphis won, and that put North Carolina in the field.
So the fix was in, Victoria. The fix was in.
Right.
Well, guess what? If UAB, we just heard that scenario played out by Keith Gill, the vice chair of the selection committee and the commissioner of the Sun Belt Athletic Conference. Had UAB beaten Memphis, it would have stole a bid. Memphis was in the field no matter what. If UAB makes it, okay, you got to bump someone out. That would have been North Carolina, as we just heard Keith Gill say. Then where does all the anger direct towards? San Diego State, because San Diego State would have been the last team in. So a lot of the anger would have been directed at San Diego State. And I'm actually surprised that there isn't more pushback towards San Diego State. So looking at the comparative numbers between the first 4 schools that were out, West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, Ohio State, compared to the last few teams that were in, Xavier, San Diego State, North Carolina. San Diego State was 3-6 in quad 1 games. So you had 9 quad 1 opportunities compared to UNC's 13. Won 3 of them. I'll give you credit on that. 5-2 in quad 2s, though. So they did lose a couple quad 2 games. North Carolina was 8-0 in quad 2s. To me, quad 2 games still need to matter. Get into the quad 3. San Diego State, 4-1 in quad 3 games. They have 1 quad 3 loss, just like North Carolina. Their home loss against Stanford was a quad 3 loss. And both teams were undefeated in quad 4 games. San Diego State 8-4, UNC 6-0. Again, North Carolina had the 5th toughest non-conference strength of schedule. They intentionally scheduled tough. It's also not their fault that the conference was weak. Granted, you can also argue that part of the weakness of the conference was their lack of wins in non-conference play. Xavier. Look at Xavier, for example. I'm surprised Xavier isn't catching more heat, Victoria. Xavier, 21-11 this year in the Big East. Their net ranking 45. Carolina's was 36.
Right.
Xavier was only 1-9. 1-9 in quad 1 games. 8-2 in quad 2s. So equal number of quad 1 games or victories as North Carolina. North Carolina didn't have any quad 2 losses. Xavier has a couple of them. Now, granted, Xavier doesn't have a quad 3 or a quad 4 loss. Why not more heat towards Xavier? Why not more heat towards San Diego State? If you look at, there's a metric out there known as wins above bubble.
Right.
So
Wob.
the WAB, the WAB, whatever you want to call it. Wins above bubble basically compares, if you take what a typical bubble team would look like and you would put that against the school schedule, how many more wins or losses would they have? So they rank those, right? Ranking those teams. Wins above bubble. North Carolina ranked 42. Wins above bubble. San Diego State ranked 44. Wins above bubble. Xavier, 49.
Wow.
Look at the schools that were left out. West Virginia, 43. Right there between North Carolina and San Diego State. Well ahead of Xavier. Indiana, 48 in wins above replacement. Right there above Xavier. Boise State, who also got in. I'm sorry, who was right there on the bubble, who missed out after beating San Diego State. Boise State, 53rd. Ohio State, 55. So I know there's a lot of heat towards UNC, but last time I checked, North Carolina had a better strength of schedule than Xavier. Same number of quad 1 wins. Didn't have any quad 2 losses. I understand there's the one quad 3 loss to Stanford, but a better wins above bubble, a better net ranking. Again, you leave this the human element, Victoria.
I know.
There's the human element to all this. So people that want to say there's an quote-unquote injustice to West Virginia, how dare? Don't leave it in the hands of the officials. You had plenty of opportunities to get more wins. Last time I checked, West Virginia's record was 19-14. 19-14. Yes, you had 16 quad 1 games. You went 6-10. But you also went 4-3 in quad 2 games. 4-3 in quad 2s. So yeah, you have more quad 2 losses than any of the other schools you're competing against other than Ohio State, which Ohio State was 17-15. You're barely above 500. Get out of here. Boise State, to me, has just as big of a gripe as West Virginia does. They went 3-6 in quad 1s, just like San Diego State. 5-2 in quad 2s, just like San Diego State. Had one quad 3 loss, just like San Diego State. Now, the one thing that Boise State might have holding back, they did have a quad 4 loss. So that's, again, where things stand right now in terms of the NCAA tournament. But to me, again, there's no injustice for any of these schools.
No.
Just not.
Just wait. We're going to expand even more next year.
Well, then there's that. There's that. Yeah. All right, by the way, Rob Dauster, Field of 68, is going to join us here in about 3 minutes. We're going to talk about not only North Carolina getting in, but also the coaching carousel is starting to turn in college basketball. We'll dive into that and how it impacts schools here in the state of North Carolina. But real quick, Victoria, again, Duke is your ACC basketball champions. I was there at the ACC tournament in Charlotte. I'm not going to lie, they looked a little different without Cooper Flagg. But that's to be expected. You didn't have any time to actually practice or prepare yourself without Cooper Flagg. He goes down in the Thursday game against Georgia Tech. There was a hush over the Spectrum Center crowd, including on press row. It's like, oh no. Oh no. But they fought through it and did Duke. Then they faced North Carolina on Friday in the semifinals, and it's like, well, wait a second. Wait a second. This might be actually a pretty darn good-looking team without Malik Brown and Cooper Flagg, which makes sense because you have a bunch of 5 stars and a bunch of these top-end players. It makes sense, but we did see North Carolina did push their way back into making it a close game on Friday night. Duke is able to hold on, and they go on and win a conference championship game. Jon Scheyer, the head coach of Duke, who had talked about after the game against North Carolina defensively, and the players said this as well, go in the locker room and talk to Con Knipple and Tyrese Proctor and others. They didn't get enough stops on defense in the second half. But Jon Scheyer in the game against Louisville said the defensive pressure in the second half was the key against Louisville.
And, I screwed us up in the first half, and I was trying to do too many different things. You can't conserve energy. You just have to give it everything you have. And our team we played our base defense. We did what we practiced doing, trusted that, and we had great resistance, great toughness. I thought we were moving on a string, and our guys were winners.
Their defense was much better against Louisville, and we saw in the game against Louisville they were able to extend and stretch their lead in the second half, whereas opposed to against North Carolina, it was just all right, let's hold on. That's what the difference of the game felt like in the second half. It was, hey, let's actually push and extend. But again, that's also a byproduct of just playing more without Cooper Flagg. And Cooper Flagg, we'll see what his ankle looks like. And he actually talked about afterwards the feeling of watching his teammates win the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was very stressful for me. I felt a little helpless not being able to be on the court with them. But, we have such a special group. They just held it down so well. They just look so connected, and I think they just really made a statement out there.
I think Duke did make a statement in the sense of, hey, you know what? We're not just Cooper Flagg and everyone else. We're definitely more than that. They got guys that can play too. I'll always say this about Duke. Their lineup versatility is the best thing about them. Not only their lineup versatility, but the versatility of their individual players. They have so many guys that can put the ball on the floor, get to the basket, but also just as many guys that can work off ball and catch and shoot as well. They have a lot of versatility on their team. That's going to pay off when they get to Raleigh. This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Being joined now here on the Adam Gold Show by Rob Dauster, Field of 68. Rob, you and I had a chance to meet and chat at the ACC Tournament in Charlotte this past week. We had conversations about what NC State might be doing in terms of their coaching search. Who might be the guy? But, Rob, I want to know, now that the field is set, the Field of 68 is set, Rob. North Carolina in. Good call or bad call?
Oh, man. Well, it depends on is this a North Carolina fan station? Is this a state fan station? What am I working with?
Hey, you're across the state of North Carolina. You've got it all, my man. You've got it all.
I'll say this. You could justify any team's inclusion based off of whatever metric you want to use, right? If you want to say that their net and their KenPom was high and they had a high strength of schedule and they challenged themselves and they're playing better of late, then you could justify that team being included. If you want to say, well, Indiana had more quad one wins and they didn't have as bad of a loss and they played in a better league, you could justify that too. If you want to say that West Virginia had to be in because of what they did, you could say that there's enough stats you could justify any decision that you want to make. My biggest issue with the way that process played out is that the athletic director for North Carolina was the chair of the committee. And there's no possible way that you can make a controversial decision like that, have the athletic director be the chair, and then sit there and say, yeah, well, he wasn't in the room when they discussed North Carolina. Yeah, well, he was in the room when they discussed every single other team. And he knows all those people, and they're friends. And it's human nature to not want to disappoint the people that you just spent an entire week with. So the fact that he was the AD and they got in controversially is just one of those things where you're never going to be able to have the appearance of having something on the up and up. It's always going to, the conspiracy theorists are going to come out. And that's my single biggest issue with this process. It's not that the way that the decision was ultimately made. It's who was in that room when that decision was made, and the fact that it's controversial, and the fact that there's absolutely no way you can convince me that having the North Carolina AD on that committee as the chair of the committee didn't impact it in some way. And that, to me, is the only part that's unfair about that decision.
I'll be honest. I 100% agree with you in that regard. I mean, it's just human nature. And that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that needs to change, Rob, by the way, Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, is that there needs to be a neutral party as the chair, like someone that is not tied in as an athletic director or a commissioner of a conference. There has to be more non-affiliated people in the selection
committee. I'll tell you this. Here's my take on it, and tell me if you think this is crazy. So the guys that we have doing we have a bracketology podcast called Fielding the Stage. Lucas Harkins, it's Brad Wachtel, it's Rocco Miller. And those three guys spend more time thinking about this freaking bracket than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And they can cite stats. They can read your stuff. They know, like, Rocco's done a deep dive and a study of every single decision that's ever been made. And he has, like, all the historical markers figured out in the database. Those guys, along with, you know, the likes of Joe Lenardi, along with the likes of Brad Evans, along with the likes of all these bracketologists, Jerry Powell, like, at every place you go, all of those guys have more information on what the bracket should look like and spend much more time watching national college basketball than the people that are on that selection committee. And the best part about it is none of them are affiliated with anybody. So at the very least, you let some of them in the room. Let some of them have a voice, because those guys care about it way, 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 way more. I promise you, way more. And they don't have any kind of affiliation. So that's where I'm at with it, man. These bracketologists that actually know what they're talking about. Let's get them in the room. Let's get them on the committee. Let's get them making the decisions. But I'll tell you this, Dennis. The other thing that really irks me is we spend, and I know it's big because it's the state of North Carolina. North Carolina's the team, right? But we spend so much time talking about the last team in and the first team out when, like, let's be frank. If you are on the cut line, if you're West Virginia or if you're Indiana or if you're Boise State or if you're North Carolina, like, the truth is you didn't do enough to get into the tournament if you are one of those teams that's fighting for a spot in the playing game. And if you really had a problem, like if you're Indiana and you really had a problem with where your seating is, you know what? Maybe you show up against Louisville. Maybe you show up in some of those games where you got 30-pieced at home, right? Maybe you show up against Illinois. If you're mad about not getting in and you're West Virginia, right, like maybe you don't lose to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. You want to get in the tournament, go out there and play your way in, because the teams that are – like Oklahoma got in with a 6-12 record in the SEC. What are we talking about? Like, we can complain about it, and we can say there's problems with the system, but if you didn't get in the tournament, man, you didn't do enough, and it was easy to do enough this year to get in the dance.
Yeah, Rob, I'll say this. It's just like you hear people in combat sports say, never leave it in the hands of the judges, never leave it in the hands of the officials, and that's exactly what all these schools did. That's exactly what North Carolina did it, Xavier, San Diego State, West Virginia. They all left it in the hands of the judges when they could have taken care of business on the court throughout the entire year. They had 4 months to do it. They all had 4 months to do it, including the teams that were just left out and the teams that barely got in. That's
so what you're saying is Darian DeVries should have knocked out Bubba Cunningham. Is that am I reading the lines there?
I mean, I won't say no. I'm kidding. But that's just where we are. That's just where we are. Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. All right, Rob, real quick. I know there's a lot of coaching searches that are going to be starting to take place. I know UNLV just opened up, Iowa opened up, and here in the state of North Carolina, NC State has opened up. I know Will Wade, McNeese State, they're in the NCAA tournament after winning the Southland Conference. I mean, that name has been pretty tied in heavily with NC State so far. You and I were talking in Charlotte, the ACC tournament. You feel like Will Wade might be, at least personality-wise, the right fit for NC State.
Yeah, I think he just makes a lot of sense there, right? Like there's a little bit of the underdog mentality. There's a little bit of, there's two blue bloods that are NC State's rivals, and I think Will Wade would absolutely relish the idea of being the team that comes in and beats both of them and then rubs their noses in it and then lets everyone know, hey, look, you know what? No one thought that we could win this, and we just won the ACC. Like that is the kind of stuff that Will Wade lives for.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking with him about the way that he schedules with McNeese State, and he says, yeah, we'll roll up on a bus. We'll come in there. We'll beat your behinds in your own gym, and then we'll take the bus home and eat, $2 footlongs on the way home from Subway, right? Like that's just his mentality. Like he doesn't care about anything else but getting a bunch of dudes that want to get out there and ball and hoop and compete at the level that he wants to compete at. And he's got a personality that I think the state fan base, at least the online portion of the state fan base, would really, really embrace once you get to know him. But the problem is, what you're going to run into with Will Wade is I feel like he's still kind of waiting out to see if he can get Indiana. He's still waiting out to see if he can get leverage with a place like North Carolina. Let's just say, for example, UNLV comes in and says, we can offer you this amount of money, we can offer you this amount of NIL, and we have this booster that's worth $1 billion that's willing to turn, whatever you want, like give you whatever you want, make sure that you're not going to be starved for money, to make sure that you're going to be able to go out and get the players that you actually want to be able to get and be able to pay them. And then what he could do is go to NC State and say, hey, look, this is what I have from them. You got to be able to match this, or you know what I mean? Like I think he knows that he's going to be in demand in this cycle, so he's probably playing the long game there. But wherever he ends up going, that dude is going to win. There's no doubt about it in my mind. That dude is going to go somewhere and he's going to win games.
All right, well, the question is, real quick, we have about 2 minutes left here. Is NC State willing to play that game? Are they willing to actually put up the resources that Will Wade has laid out and said to you guys, to Jeff Goodman at Field of 68, saying, hey, I need X amount of dollars, NIL, all this other support. Is NC State willing to do that?
I mean, that's $1 million question, right? And I think the one thing that's hard is, and I think we're seeing this with the way that the Florida State hire went. I think we're seeing this with the way that the Miami hire went, where I don't know how long this bubble is going to last, where coaching salaries are going to be astronomical. I think in the next 5 years, what's going to happen is you're going to see more of a situation where the 6-year deals at $3.5 million per year for coaches are going to kind of go away. You're going to get more like 3-year deals, 1.5, and then they're going to take that other money and start putting it towards NIL. So my guess is Will Wade is going to try to find a way. This might even be the last year that's available. So I think he might be waiting just to get the most guaranteed money he can, because this might be the time for him to be able to cash out. You know, if you look at the way that NBA coaches are paid, you look at the way that NFL coaches are paid in comparison with the athletes, and it's completely out of whack for what college football and college basketball looks like. And the hard part is, does NC State, does a team in the ACC have the budget to be able to spend that much money on a coach when they also got to spend a certain amount of money on NIL to keep that coach happy? That's $1 million question. I don't know. I got to check out you know what? Let's roll over there to NC State's athletics office, and let's just ask them if we can see their books.
Yeah.
You with Dennis?
Hey,
we'll roll up there and we'll just say, hey, look, open it up. I just want to see where your funding's coming from. I want to see how much NIL you give to football versus basketball. I think they'd let us in. We just got to ask nicely, right?
I think they would. Well, I mean, I'm going to be here for the NCAA tournament, so it's here in Raleigh. So yeah, come on down and you can crash at my place, and we'll definitely make that happen.
Hey, take care of my Huskies down there. Take care of UConn for me, all right? Can you get some of these NC State fans to show up? Look. The Wolfpack, Huskies, they kind of look similar. They're both dogs. They're both aggressive. Like, you know, back me up a little bit here. I need a loud UConn crowd there in Raleigh.
Okay, well, there's the cry from Rob Dauster, Field of 68. Give him a follow on X at Rob Dauster. Rob, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, my man.
Appreciate you, man.
That's Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. And he brings up a point, Victoria, about there's the human element to all this when it comes to the selection committee. Bubba Cunningham, the guy got over $104,000 for UNC making the NCAA tournament.
That doesn't hurt.
No, it does not. It doesn't hurt NC. It doesn't hurt North Carolina. It doesn't hurt his pocketbook either. We'll dive more into that. What needs to change when it comes to selection committees, when it comes to college athletics? We'll have that in 4 minutes.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Knipple. Bank it home! Count it in a foul!
From the first four to the national championship.
Proctor at 3. Bang!
All the hoops action will be heard here.
They get it done, and they are the ACC champs.
The road to San Antonio is driven by WakeMed, Roofworks, Metro Elevator, and Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Adam Gold here from my friends at X Golf and Carry, the premier indoor golf experience in the Triangle. And coming up on Saturday, March 22nd from 12 to 3, I will be out there and we are going to be having a great time, just like everybody's been having there for about a year. That's right, a year, a celebration. Great golf, great games, great prizes, PGA Pro on site. We're going to have so much fun, you're going to want to pinch yourself or something. PlayXGolf.com/carry. 12 to 3, Saturday. See you there.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ross with Egg City Customs. Spring energy is here, and we are excited about all of your projects. We have kicked off this year with a lot of big things happening around the shop, including new hours and additional space. If you have never toured our shop before, come visit us in Zebulon. We would love to show you around. For official shop tours, check us out on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. From shop services to finished products like custom tables, countertops, outdoor pergolas, and furnishings, we have you covered. To learn more, check us out now at oakcitycustoms.com.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's nonstop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime. And Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Time is running out, folks. I need you to go to caniacsbike.com. Dennis Cox here for the Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. Sign-ups last until April 6th. The bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
Victoria, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What would you do with an extra $104,000?
Oh, well, first of all, it wouldn't be an extra. Second.
Yeah, right? It would not be an extra.
So many things. Biff would get so many dog treats.
I know, right? Everything would be paid off. It would be wonderful.
Right.
That's what Bubba Cunningham got. Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director of North Carolina, receives, this is according to 24/7 Sports, it's built into his contract, he receives an additional 1 month of his salary, which is $104,000 and change. He makes that because UNC made it to the NCAA tournament. That's what he gets for UNC being in the field of 68 as the last team in. Bubba Cunningham, the director of UNC, also the chair of the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. So keep this in mind. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. So keep this in mind. When he has to get up and leave the room, anytime North Carolina is discussed, he has to get up and leave the room. There's the human nature. We just talked to Rob Dauster of 68, Field of 68. We just talked to him just a moment ago. And he said there's the human nature, the human element of seeing someone that you have been working on piecing together a March Madness tournament field, working this thing together, and he has to go, oh, you guys are going to talk about North Carolina. Well, I just need to step out. And he walks out of the room. You don't want to let that guy down because guess what? When he comes back into the room, he's going to learn what was said about his school. Mm-hmm. He's going to figure out in some way, shape, or form because when they're starting to, however they do it, ranking 1 through 68 or comparing some of these other schools, whatever it might be, he's going to see it because he has to put those teams in their seeds. That's what he has to do. So he's going to see it. So he's going to find out. And then so he's going to see, excuse me, he's going to see what the other schools are around North Carolina. And then he has to talk about those other schools. Again, it's human nature. There's the real human element to all this. Of course, there's an influence in some way, shape, or form. Now, just because of that, that doesn't necessarily mean they should not have been in the tournament. I mentioned earlier Xavier. Xavier also only has one quad one win. Xavier has a lower net ranking. Xavier has multiple quad two losses, which North Carolina doesn't have. Wins above bubble. North Carolina's ranking is 42. Xavier's is 49. But Xavier's in. Xavier's actually ahead of North Carolina. Again, Rob Dauster said, I'll say it as well, you can do anything that you want to justify what school should not have been or should have been in, this team, whatever it might be. But it all boils down to this. You play games on the court, right? The results of those games have to matter. So if you're West Virginia with 14 losses, that's 14 more opportunities that you had to win games. Indiana, 13 losses. 13 more opportunities that you had to win games. Same with North Carolina. If North Carolina didn't make it in, you know what I'd be saying? You had 13 losses on your schedule. That was 13 opportunities you had to boost your resume.
Yeah, don't play with your food.
Exactly. Ohio State, you have 15 losses this season. Boise State, 10. Like, there are so many of these schools had an all of these schools did. Not so many. All of them did. Had the opportunity on the floor to earn their way in. Not put themselves in a position to be judged. You know who earned their way in? Louisville did. Clemson did. They earned their way in despite not winning their conference regular season or their conference tournament. They earned their way in by winning on the court. And that's what matters. But that also doesn't mean things with the selection process can't change. There are people, Rob talked about it, there are people who literally dedicate their lives. Joe Lunardi of ESPN literally has his entire job is breaking down the numbers and metrics and how teams play and puts out his bracketology of what he projects the field would be based off all the stuff.
And throws out some crazy hot takes sometimes.
Sometimes he does that too. But everything he does is based on some sort of number. That's what these people do. If the NCAA tournament wants to get it right, you have to have more non-biased and non-partisan people in the room saying, this is just simply what the numbers are. This is how they rank in these key areas. How much weight you want to give these different metrics, that's up to, the committee can decide that in advance. Okay, well, if you're giving, Ken Palm more weight or whatever it might be, boom, here are the numbers. They spit it out. This is what it looks like. You get all of your automatic qualifiers in there. Here's what it looks like. This who gets in. I mean, you got to have more of those people in the room. You need to have those people in the room. Otherwise, you're going to get this. Again, both things can be true. There's the human element that maybe influenced North Carolina get again. I'll say maybe, I'm not going to say definite. I'm not going to put definitive statements on it because I was not in the room. But you can infer. You certainly can.
And any season that UNC kind of plays with their food and puts them in this position where they could be in or out over like a game, having Bubba is going to cause the same reaction every time. Every time.
100%. 100%. And guess what? If it was the AD of West Virginia and WVU gets in, guess what people are going to say?
Same thing.
The same damn thing.
Same thing.
The same damn thing. Multiple things can be true. The system can change. The people making the decisions and how things are structured can change, but also the doing the damn thing of winning games on the court, that still has to matter. Again, every single one of these schools, West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, Ohio State, San Diego State, Xavier, UNC, Texas, Wake Forest, all these schools put themselves in a position where they had to be judged by others as opposed to taking care of business on the floor. Because guess what? If North Carolina completes their comeback on Friday against Duke and wins that game, there's zero question in my mind. Zero. Now, people might say, well, you beat Duke without Cooper Flagg, blah, 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 blah. I was at the game. Duke is still a top 15 team without Cooper Flagg on the floor and Malik Brown. And guess what? UNC had that opportunity to take care of business in that game, and they didn't. They had an opportunity to beat Stanford at home. I was at the game, and they didn't. All those furious comeback. Again, doesn't matter anymore now. Where they sit is where they sit. Never leave things in the hands of judges. Take care of your business on the floor. If you want to gripe about you didn't make it in the NCAA tournament, look in the mirror first. Look in the mirror first. I said it once, I'll say it again. More than one thing can be true. And you have a valid gripe to say, hey, the last team that gets into the tournament, the head of the chair of the committee is their AD. Yeah, I'd be pissed off too. That's valid. It's 100% valid. Bubba Cunningham gets $104,000.
There's that. You know.
I will say this, though.
No big deal.
Being here in the state of North Carolina, and as someone who loves college basketball, for me, I love the fact that another North Carolina school got in.
Yeah,
I love the fact, to me, for what I do, seeing North Carolina in the NCAA tournament, to me, is good. I love it.
Gives us more to talk about.
Yeah, but guess what? I get to see them play on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I get to see them play on Tuesday. I was talking to a couple of people with the affiliated with the UNC basketball team on Friday after they lost to Duke, asking about what their feelings were for Sunday. And they're like, I don't know. It's 50-50 at this point. It's like flip a coin. They said, hey, you know what? A lot of people are going to lean on the quad one record, but have you watched us play? Like, if you watch us play, we're a tournament team. But everyone wants to lean on the quad one. So they said, hey, you know what? If we got to go to Dayton, we'll go to Dayton. And sure enough, they're going to Dayton. I cannot wait. This is going to be such a fun week of the college basketball in the state of North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
UNC Wilmington's in it. Duke's in it. High Point's in it. UNC's in it. We have men's college basketball, first and second round games at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. The schools that are coming here, we got obviously Duke's going to be here, Florida, UConn, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, big-time programs that are coming here to Raleigh. UNC, Duke, and NC State women's basketball are all hosting first and second round games as well. We're the hoop state for a reason. This is awesome.
I know.
I am so excited.
If we had TVs on carts, I would totally wheel it in here.
I know.
We don't.
Let's talk to our engineering department. Let's get them in here.
Just get an old one.
Just get it
It's
in
fine.
here. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Canes have won 7 straight. That might be brought up as we hit one-timers next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are knee-deep in March. The month is crazy. Some even call it mad. Time for your college basketball promo of the week. You can get a share of $1 million in bonus bets if you bet on the lowest winning seed of the day. That's an upset you will not be upset about. See what I did there? FanDuel. Best place to bet on the tournament, FanDuel.com/AGS. Download America's #1 sports book today. FanDuel.com/AGS. It's a dog of the day. You will be happy you did it. In March, anything can happen. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from this old house to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Yes, St. Patty's Day. The time where so many people can sit there and say, I had a friend that went to Ireland once. Let me drink.
Let's drink green beer.
That's all it is.
It'll be Dropkick Murphy and Flogging Molly all day today.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be.
I'm excited. I love some Dropkick. And Flogging Molly. They're both good.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. By the way, if you want to be part of the conversation, go to 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. If you search them on YouTube, watch the live stream of this show. You can interact with Victoria and myself in the live chat. We actually have a poll question up, Victoria. I threw it out there for the people. Just simply asking the question, should UNC have gotten into the NCAA tournament? Yes or no? Right now, it's nearly 50-50. 51% say no, 49% say yes, which is...
People are split.
Which... If you follow online and what people were saying after the selection process and selection show, all that came out yesterday, tournament field was announced, it's about roughly 50-50,
Yeah.
which is where we're currently sitting at right now.
Yeah.
Love seeing people in the comment section leaving thoughts on and not only that, but also little Canes action. Canes won 7 straight, by the way.
Yeah,
Got
they
checked off
did.
with a shutout, 5-0 the other day. Maybe, I don't know if we'll get a Canes question, but I know in hockey, as someone who plays it, we do get one-timers. All right, V, what do we got?
Oh, our Carolina Hurricanes might come up in just a second,
All right.
but I like to keep track of people who do actually participate in throwing out their one-timers. And on the last day, Friday, I don't know what day it was today, it's Monday. On Friday, one of our one-timers that we didn't get to from Matthew, he threw that out there. So picking up where we left off, with the Panthers holding the 8th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, who do you think they will target to make an immediate impact on their roster?
I hope it's one of their I hope it's one of the top edge rushers. Whether that's Jalen Walker. I know Jalen Walker seems to be almost darn near a consensus that he'll be sitting there at 8 and that the Carolina Panthers will take him. There are, even with the premier edge rushers outside of Abdul Carter, there's still one thing that kind of maybe give you a little bit of pause. Like, Jalen Walker doesn't have the prototypical size to be an outside linebacker or to be an edge rusher full time. 6'1", 243, I think is what he measured at the combine. Doesn't have very long arms, which long term will have an impact, but doesn't mean you still can't line him up in those spots. So do you see him as a more of an off-ball linebacker or a hybrid as both? So do you see it as a chess piece that you can be moved around, or do you see him as like, he's kind of a tweener? It depends. So what are you willing to live with? Mykel Williams has a lot of the physical measurables, maybe doesn't have in terms of length and size, but doesn't have maybe the top end speed that you want. Didn't quite have the production that you saw in college that you might have expected for a guy with his physical traits, but he's super young. He's only 20 years old. He was also playing at Georgia, where there's a bunch of other dudes that were there. So again, what are you willing to live with when it comes to the premier edge rushers? I think the defense has done Dan Morgan has done a really good job with the defense of building that up with the moves they made this offseason, Victoria. But to me, they need that premium edge rusher to help solidify the defense, in my opinion, because they still need playmakers on that side of the ball just as much as they need a playmaker at wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm excited for the defense, actually. And sticking with Panther topics, another Panther question.
Okay.
Why would the Panthers only give Dowdle a 1-year contract?
Only Panthers give who?
Our new guy, Rico.
Oh, Rico Dowdle, a 1-year contract? A couple of reasons. One, my guess is that they're going to be drafting a running back in the draft, which I think they should, because right now you just have Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. So I think it's just a 1-year insurance policy to get you until when Jonathan Brooks hopefully will be ready to go. I don't anticipate Jonathan Brooks playing at all this season after tearing his ACL for the second time in the span of a year, or a year apart from the first time he tore it. I don't expect anything from Jonathan Brooks this year. Maybe it's just a bridge to get you to 2026. I still think they draft a running back that is a change of pace to what Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle provide. So to me, a 1-year deal for Rico Dowdle, that's fine. You didn't need to keep him for anything longer than that, in my opinion.
Take it and run with it.
Literally.
Exactly. So now moving on to basketball, kind of the gist of what our YouTube stream is talking about. Some people are going back and forth right now, but I'm basically getting the idea of conference pride.
Oh, the ACC?
So in your opinion, do you think there is conference pride anymore? Does conferences mean anything?
I think there is a level of conference pride. I see both sides of it, because if you're an ACC fan, the fact that a 4th team got in is good, and that three of your teams that got in, Louisville, Duke, North Carolina, are kind of college basketball, are college basketball blue bloods. Like, let's keep that in mind. So at least your blue bloods are in for the most part. Now, you still need to see work from schools like NC State and Wake and some of these others, traditional ACC schools. But I also understand the frustration of, well, wait a second. This is a down year in the ACC, and you snuck in, looking at North Carolina. I see both sides of it. To me, I'm happy for the fact that the ACC got at least 4 schools in. Because at least, that's obviously much better than 3, especially when you look at the SEC that got 14.
Mm-hmm.
14 in.
Yeah,
14 schools. Yeah, the ACC, hopefully these 4 ACC schools make deep runs in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that we need as well. But the ACC as a whole needs to boost itself up for sure. But yes, there is ACC pride. I don't know how much that carries over to Stanford and Cal and SMU, but if you're a fan of a school in the ACC, you need the ACC to be strong. Simple as that.
And Stanford and Cal came in running hot, football and basketball.
A little bit.
Sticking with our basketball topic, so you can also, not only can you leave us a one-timer in our stream, but also you can tweet at me at V to the under. Well, it's a lot of underscore. It's V to the Victoria with underscores in it. But
you'll find it.
This one came from Twitter. My friend Chuck here said, which is a greater miracle getting into the men's NCAA tournament? Is it A, NC State in 2024, or B, UNC in 2025?
Oh, a greater miracle between the two? I think the greater miracle, obviously, is NC State, because they actually earned it on the floor because they won. They left no doubts. I think that's the greater miracle, but I get the tongue-in-cheek there of UNC getting into the NCAA tournament this year. I'll still go with NC State.
Nice. And last but not least, if not UNC, then who? Into the NCAA tournament.
If not UNC, then who? A lot of people are pointing at West Virginia. West Virginia went 6-10 in quad ones. But to me, the one that probably should not have gotten in is Xavier. That's just my opinion. Xavier. Speaking of North Carolina getting into the NCAA tournament, we'll dive more into that next on the Adam Gold Show.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it is finally here. We have brackets, and that means we will have upsets. And our friends at FanDuel are doing something really cool. Bet on the lowest winning seed of the day and win a share of $1 million worth of bonus bets. That's right. Just find a 14 that's going to win. Maybe UNC Wilmington over Texas Tech. Or maybe a 13. High Point over Purdue. And you cash in. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Let's win, baby. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keatts fired as head coach of the NC State men's basketball team. Regardless of what you think of Coach Keatts, good coach, bad coach, indifferent, the next coach, their success relies on better financial support. NC State just hasn't had the NIL funds to compete for an ACC championship every year, and that has to change.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $119 and take $20 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com and say you want the 99.9 The Fan special.
So, you found the one and want to get married? Next step, you need the ring. And not just any ring. The perfect engagement sparkle that exemplifies your love. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is here to help. Our diamond experts, wide selection of high-quality diamonds, and financing make saying I do easy. We guarantee you'll love the ring or your money back. You're invited to see why Bailey's has been voted best place to buy your diamonds. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to find out more.
What would you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. You can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, and often no appraisal. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. Get the money you need for anything. 919-381-1760, LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
As dominant a run as this league has ever seen, and they punctuated with a 23rd ACC title. They knock off Louisville 73-62, the final score. Gritty, tough, they get it done. The ultimate team, and they are the ACC champs.
You have to give Duke a lot of credit for winning the ACC tournament, for the fact that they had to adjust their style of play a little bit and what they do on the fly. I mean, their best player, Cooper Flagg, leaves Friday night's game against North Carolina. Thursday night's game against, actually, take that back. The Thursday afternoon game, I'll get it right, Victoria, leaves the Thursday afternoon game against Georgia Tech early, doesn't play against North Carolina the next day, doesn't play the day after that against Louisville. And Duke, John Shire, the players, everyone had to adjust on the fly. And they handled it quite well. You have to give credit where credit is due. They handled it well, and they're your ACC champions this year. They earned it on the floor. Not only without Cooper Flagg, but also Malik Brown. It was noticeable. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. It was noticeable on defense not having Malik Brown on the floor because of the versatility that he provides on the defensive end, because he can guard 1 through 5. Can absolutely guard 1 through 5. So that adjusts your defensive coverages when he's not out there on the floor. Because usually late in games, if they needed defensive stops, Malik Brown would be out there. They weren't able to have that against North Carolina late. And sure enough, in the second half against North Carolina was able to chip away and make their comeback, is because, I heard it directly from Con Knippel and Tyrese Proctor and others, that they weren't able to get stops on the defensive end. So Duke wasn't able to play at the tempo that they wanted to in terms of the pace that they wanted to play. A little bit more up-tempo. It slowed them down a bit. And also, as a result, they weren't finishing on offensive sets. Carolina was killing them in transition, but they were able to hold on and win that game. And they were much stronger the next day in the championship game against Louisville. So you got to give Duke a ton of credit. But one of the teams that they beat, Duke, they beat Louisville, who's in the NCAA tournament, as an 8 seed, by the way, which kind of blows my mind a little bit, that Louisville's an 8 seed. I said it about an hour ago that, you know what, once you get into the tournament, seeding doesn't matter, but you're supposed to seed based off of your ranking of schools, right? The fact that they were an 8 seed kind of blew my mind. I thought they were probably been at worst a 6. But hey, I was wrong on that, especially for a team that had a net ranking in the top 25 to be ranked 8th or as an 8 seed. And I was like, oh, when I saw them ranked as an 8 seed, I thought, I don't know. I don't know about this. But another one that a lot of people are very much questioning, Victoria, UNC's inclusion into the NCAA tournament. As the last seed in, Sean Farnham, ESPN, discussed yesterday, hey, you know what? What was so shocking? What stood out in a sense of like what was so egregious about the tournament field? Here's what Sean Farnham, ESPN, had to say.
One of it was that has to be a typo. North Carolina can't possibly be in this NCAA tournament field because they had ample opportunities to improve their resume. The fact that West Virginia is not with 6 quad 1 wins and North Carolina is with 1, and if they thought so highly of the ACC, how is an 18-win Louisville team an 8 seed? So if you don't value the ACC with Louisville, who won 18 games in conference play and had a great non-conference, what you're telling me is North Carolina scheduled its way in because it had the 5th hardest non-conference schedule. The problem is they only won one of those games that matter. So, when you talk about 2 wins against the field, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And there are other teams I thought were more rewarded for this. And this is an example of why we don't need to expand the tournament. Because we're looking at this resume and going, yes, this is a tournament, the NCAA tournament team. To me, it's about being elite. This North Carolina team is not elite.
No, this North Carolina team is not elite, but also we'll say that the Xavier team is that also squeaked their way in as one of the last 4 is not an elite team. Same thing with San Diego State or Texas. These last 4. When you're talking about picking and choosing the last 4 teams, you're not talking about elite teams. I mean, elite teams are, in my mind, Auburn, Florida, Alabama, Duke, Tennessee, Houston. Like, those are the elite teams this year. And then there's kind of everyone else. The big gripe that people have, and I 100% get it, is that the chair of the committee is Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director at North Carolina. So there is something at stake for that guy. For UNC, there is something at stake. Now, the way the process works out, he takes himself out of the room anytime North Carolina is discussed. And that's what Keith Gill, who is the vice chair of the selection committee, also the commissioner of the Sun Belt Athletic Conference, discussed the Tar Heels getting in.
As the vice chair, I managed all the conversations that we had about North Carolina, and we had quite a few. Our policies require the AD of any school to recuse themselves and actually leave the room for those discussions, and they're not allowed to participate in any vote as well. So we followed those, had lots of discussions about North Carolina. You know, Saturday night we took our final vote, and we voted in 4 teams in the field on Saturday night, and we had a contingency vote. And the contingency vote, that was the last team in the field. And it was based on Memphis and UAB. If Memphis won that game, then that was going to free up a spot in the tournament, and that was going to be North Carolina. If UAB had won, then Memphis was going to be in the tournament, UAB would have been in the tournament, and North Carolina would have been the first team out. And so that process played out today. Memphis won, and that put North Carolina in the field.
Okay, so that led us to where we are right now. Which is the backlash towards Bubba Cunningham. I've said it already. I'll say it again. There's the human element to all of this. When Bubba Cunningham has to get up and leave the room, when he comes back in and they're starting to rank teams, he's going to see where North Carolina's ranked compared to everyone else. He's going to see it. And naturally, because you want to protect your own, you might look at other metrics around these other schools that might sway other people's thoughts.
Sure.
It's just human nature.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be his instinct.
Exactly. It's instinct. You want to protect your own. But for people who, again, more than one thing can be true. There's the human element that comes into all this. Now, did they probably follow the protocol that the committee had set out about leaving the room and all those kinds of things? I'm sure they did follow it, but again, there is still then the thought in the back of your mind, if I'm sitting in that room being like, you know what, like, I don't know, I know Bubba well. We've been hammering out this bracket and stuff for the last week and all those kinds of things, and when you have the contingency bracket, he knows where North Carolina sits. He knows. But people that are crying, I've seen the word like, oh, it's an injustice to West Virginia that they did not get into the NCAA tournament. An injustice. Is it? Is it an injustice that West Virginia didn't get in, or Indiana didn't get in, or Boise State didn't get in? No, it's not. It's not. Because every single one of these schools, Carolina, Xavier, San Diego State, West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, all put themselves in this position. They all put themselves in this position. You know who didn't? The team Duke beat in the ACC championship game, Louisville. They didn't put themselves in a position to be judged in terms of should they be in or not. They took care of enough business in the regular season that for them it's just figuring out where we're going to go, where are we playing, and who are we playing against. Every single one of these schools put themselves in a position because they didn't take care of business on the floor when they had the chance. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. There's no injustice out here. Nothing was stolen from anybody. Every single one of these schools had the opportunity to earn their way in without a shadow of the doubt. And they didn't. Some squeaked in. Xavier being one of them. I'm surprised there isn't more backlash towards Xavier, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Bubba just makes it low-hanging fruit since he's there.
Sure. Made it easy.
People are like, whoa.
And you know what? Justifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's in the room.
Yeah. That's
now,
why.
again, I know he separates himself, like he leaves the room when they're talking about Carolina. I get all that. But guess what? He's still got to walk back in the room and talk about everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees the field. He knows. Everyone else knows.
That's why you got to, can't play around with your food. You got to win these games so you're not in this situation.
Exactly. You can't mess around. You mess around, you find out.
Yep, there's a whole graph and everything.
There's all that. You mess around, you find out. Exactly. There's a graph and everything. But that's where we are. Plain and simple. This is where we are. I love college basketball. I'm not going to lie, I didn't think North Carolina was going to get in, but they are. And I love the fact that they're in. Because I think it's great for college basketball that a school like North Carolina is in the tournament. But guess what North Carolina is going to have to do? They're going to have to play it and win an extra game. Compared to everyone else, they're going to have to win one more game than everyone else in order to win a title. But for Carolina, you get a chance. You're in the field, and that's what matters the most. Yeah, you may have got in by the hairs of your chinny chin chin, and maybe the big boss man had some influence on it. Maybe.
But you're there.
But you're there. Don't cry about it now. You're going to be there. And by the way, I'll say this real fast. If you're a Duke fan, why are you upset that UNC got in? Like, your spot was already locked. Doesn't impact what you're doing. You're not going to face them at any point anytime soon. If you do. I understand that they're your rival and you want to see them lose. I get that, but it doesn't hurt you. Doesn't bother you. Same with NC State. NC State wasn't going anywhere this year. We know that. They didn't even make the ACC tournament.
Nope.
But I get it. I get it.
I wonder if State fans like that it's taking the heat off of them not being involved at all.
Maybe.
This UNC stuff.
Oh, then they still need a coach, though. They need a coach. They 100% need a coach.
They do.
Which I wonder, real quick on that, I wonder if they have someone lined up, like someone that they're talking to, but he is coaching currently in the NCAA tournament.
Yep, gotta
I
wait
know
it out.
Will Wade, McNeese State is like the hot name. We'll see what else is available out there. Iowa opened up, which might, again, there's like for example, Steve Forbes, Wake Forest has connections to Iowa. So people wonder, like, would Forbes possibly jump ship if he was offered the opportunity to go to Iowa and leave Wake Forest, which then would open up something here in the state. But also, Alan Huss, at what he's done at High Point in a couple of seasons, would a mid-major school jump on him to bring him out of the Big South and High Point to go somewhere, which would open up that? Because he's turned that program in a couple of years. With Coach Siddle and UNC Wilmington, what he is doing, getting into the NCAA tournament, is there a mid-major school, like another conference, for like a Big East school or something like that might open up? Hey, come here. It's a possibility. UNLV is open. They have a ton of NIL money. And they got people that are willing to throw money in that program. How attractive is that? The carousel is already starting to turn. We've seen Jay Lucas leave Duke already to go to Miami. Florida State filled their job as well with Leonard Hamilton retiring. Who knows what's going to happen? A lot of delicate moving parts. It says the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. You know who's playing well without a shadow of a doubt, Victoria?
Who's that?
A team that's won 7 straight.
Yeah, they have.
It's amazing how addition by subtraction has been the best thing probably for the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll discuss that in 4 minutes.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're in the middle of the madness.
Tar Heels on the run. Trimble to the cup, layup, counted in the foul. Carolina can get within 6.
From the first 4 to the national championship.
R.J. Davis swishes it home. That one rainbowed up and through.
All the hoops action will be heard here.
Lubin gets the rebound and hammers it home.
The road to San Antonio is driven by Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Fairway Green, and First Horizon Bank. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right? So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hey, bud, why the long face? Got laid off again, like the 3rd time since the plague. You should move back in with your parents. What? Well, let's go to Sharky's. Now that's a good idea. Hey, they hiring? No chance they'd hire you, but Sharky's is my favorite spot, and I just love hanging there. Sharky's it is. We can discuss a new job over a cold beer and the best wings ever.
He's right, you know. No one's gonna hire you. Move back in with your parents. Sharky's, quite possibly the best neighborhood bar in the world.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products. This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
St. Patty's Day full of 4-leaf clovers and Mark Jankowski scoring 4 goals in 4 games with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, he did. Gosh, love
By the
him
way,
now.
he has 4 shots on goal. All 4 have gone in.
Oh, no big deal.
He had 2 in his exactly no big deal.
You know.
He had 2 goals in his first game with the Canes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then 2 goals in his most recent game with the Canes. A 5-0 win against Philadelphia.
Showing up big.
Exactly.
I'm excited.
You know what? If you're a Canes fan, you should be excited right now. You should be 100% excited. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. As always, you should be stoked right now at a 7-game win streak for the Carolina Hurricanes. But keep this in mind. I feel like this is almost like a tale of two halves, I guess, or at least there's a... You could put a divider in this 7-game win streak. The first 3 were Biko ranting him questions about the trade deadline and all those kinds of things, including that late game winning goal by Seth Jarvis against the Boston Bruins the Thursday, the night before the trading deadline at the Lenovo Center. My girlfriend and I were at that game, and man, the Canes looked bad. Looked bad in that game. But hey, they still won.
Yeah.
Hey, win's a win. You ain't going to give it back. Then you come out, you beat the Winnipeg Jets. You beat the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Which is leading the conference. So
Yeah, exactly. 2 of the best teams in the league, which, by the way, you beat Connor Hellebuck. You scored 3 goals against Connor Hellebuck. I know they won the game 4-2, but one of them was an empty netter. But you got 3 goals against Connor Hellebuck, who leads the league in goals against average.
And if you watched 4 Nations, you know how great he is.
He was, yeah.
Fantastic.
You know how great he is. He's won Vezina trophies. He's probably going to win it again this year for best goalie in the league. He has the best goals against average. And then you play Tampa and you score 4 on Andrei Vasilevsky, who was number 2 in the league in goals against average.
Lightning has always given us trouble.
Yeah, and it's a stacked team, and you still held your own. Not only held your own, you won, and you won playing well.
Mm-hmm.
You won playing well in those games. Jankowski nets a couple in the win against the the win against the Winnipeg Jets. Stankoven. I keep wanting to put the 2 together. Stankoven scores a goal in that game as well. Then you get the win against the Tampa Bay Lightning, where it was your big guys that got stuff done. And then in the second game of a back-to-back, you get a shutout on Saturday.
Whatever will we do without Mikko Rantanen?
Win. That's what we're going to do. Win and have fun doing it.
You can tell he was the
so
rotten apple in that bunch, because as soon as he's gone, look at this team. That is just a perfect example of getting bad news bears out of the locker room. He probably brought a vibe. And not a good Finn vibe.
No, not a good one. Not a good one. Not the one that we want.
No.
Being able to go into the locker room and talk to players and just get the overall vibe in the room, it 100% is different. It 100% is different.
You can tell on the ice.
You can tell on the ice. You can just tell in the locker room. If you heard multiple players say it publicly, like it's all behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, everyone's here is bought in. We know who our team is. Everyone's trying to make a run to go win a Stanley Cup. Everyone's ready to do that. And we all know what happened with the Rantanen stuff. We all know it. Guess what? They moved forward. They being the team, the players, they've all moved forward. Fans, let's move forward from it as well. Now, at some point we can go back and rehash. Should Tulski have made the move? Did he fully know? All that kind of stuff. But guess what? It's done.
And also national media, too.
Yeah,
I'm waiting
what?
for them to spin this 7-win streak somehow into Mikko Rantanen.
And guess what?
They still talked about it yesterday.
And Andrei Svechnikov's missed time, too, with an upper body injury.
Yeah.
So you're doing this without him.
Right.
And you're still playing well. All the pieces, the guys that were brought in, Jankowski and Stankoven, fit well to what the Canes do. Their style of play and what they're being asked to do fits in.
Yeah, even Taylor Hall. He's
Taylor
fitting
Hall.
in so good, too.
You beat me to the punch.
Oh, no, man.
You beat me to the punch. You can tell that it took, with players adjusting to the system that the Canes do, anytime you go to a new system, there's always going to be an adjustment period. And Taylor Hall, it looks, just by watching him play, looks like he has figured out exactly what he needs to do and what he needs to bring to this team on a night in and night out basis. And what he's been doing over the last stretch of games has been great. Not just with his scoring ability, but also what he's just been doing in terms of the little stuff and stuff that may not show up on a stat sheet. I mean, gosh, in the game against the Winnipeg Jets, Freddie Anderson's completely out of position. Wrap around a chance from the right post. He drops down on one knee, puts his skate up against the post, saves a goal in a big-time moment, in a big-time game. Like, he's making those kinds of plays as well. He's doing all the little stuff that you ask, and he's 100% bought in. And Rob Brind'Amour, again, also the new guys as well. Stankoven, unfortunately, had a goal taken off the board. Because against the Philadelphia Flyers, puck was chipped into the zone. Jordan Staal was just across the blue line a little bit too quick. Stankoven scores right there in front of the net, and I was super pumped for him. Because I'm like, yes, this guy also on the stat sheet once again. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out in that regard. But offsides was called. I'm giving it to him anyway, Victoria.
Right? Why not?
But then also you bring in a guy like Mark Jankowski, was a former first-round pick back in 2012, if I remember correctly. Played with Calgary, played some in Nashville, now is with the Carolina Hurricanes. He and Eric Robinson have found a nice little pairing together, but Rob Brind'Amour did talk about how much of a difference, since Mark Jankowski has joined the team, how much of a difference has Mark Jankowski brought to the team?
Yeah, I mean, he's putting the puck in the net on his chances, right? I mean, that's one way to, get the team.
Friends.
Yeah, make friends, exactly. So, I mean, we don't expect that every night, but it's been nice. I mean, when you get it from a guy like that, maybe you're not really expecting it, not getting as much ice time as the other guys, but producing, that's huge for a group.
It's big for a new guy to come into a team because you want to impact the game in a positive way on the stat sheet. That's what you want to do. You want to impact the game in a positive way on the stat sheet, and that's exactly what he has done. Stankoven has done it as well. Those guys are on the stat sheet because, like, hey, guys, I'm here to contribute. And then when they are actually contributing, it alleviates a ton of pressure. Now, we saw early on, before the Svechnikov injury, it was Jankowski centering a line with Eric Robinson as well as Jack Roslovic. Now, with Roslovic getting bumped up in the lineup with Svechnikov's injury, it's been Tyson Jost. But there's been some chemistry in recent games, and Rob Brind'Amour talked about what he's seen out of Robinson and Jankowski on the same line together.
That's a great point that you just brought up, because I think on both those goals, it was just great plays by Robbie. And, he's another one of those guys that's kind of been a little bit unsung with this group, but is very, very valuable. And I think he was all over the game tonight. Again,
pieces fitting together. Pieces fitting together. Add on top of that, you get a shutout by Pyotr Kochetkov.
Love it.
You can't help but love it. And Rob Brindamore talked about what were some, again, the Flyers game on Saturday with the Canes won 5-0. What were some of the key things that he saw that led to a shutout against Philly?
Well, Coots was really good, obviously. State the obvious. He made a few saves early in the game, especially that first period where, they go in, it's a different game. And then we had a couple good individual efforts. I thought Blakey on the first goal, or on that Seabass goal. So, and then we just played pretty solid game, not giving up a heck of a lot and capitalizing when we had our chances.
In the last 4 games, Victoria, 17 goals scored by the Carolina Hurricanes, only 5 goals allowed in the last 4 games.
It's impressive.
It's extremely impressive.
And that's a big swing from the way the season was kind of going.
Yeah.
Lots of goals were being scored.
The last time there was it was amazing because there was for a stretch of games up until this win streak, they were literally given up and scored the exact same amount of goals.
Right.
It was literally like 500 level play.
Mm-hmm. Which is a lot for them. Because, seasons past, they don't give up a lot of goals. It's usually like a 3-2 game.
TSN up in Canada, basically their version of ESPN, basically. But TSN in Canada just released their power rankings for the NHL. They have Canes number 1.
Oh.
Number 1 in their power rankings. And again, that's without quote-unquote stars. I mean, he's a star player. But star players of Rantanen and Natchez. You don't have those. You take those guys off the board and look at what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Ottawa Senators, for example. Ottawa Senators didn't make any move. They won 6 straight.
Right.
Sometimes it's just finding the right chemistry at the right time. But I'll also throw this out as well. The power play still hasn't been great. They've scored I'm going to go to the last 4 games because this is post Mikko Rantanen. Last 4 games, only 2 of 17, just over 11%, which is better than the 5% that they were doing. So we could say improvement. But in 8 shorthanded opportunities, or 8 times they've been shorthanded, they've given up 0 goals, and they've actually scored 1.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually have scored 1. I'll take that any day of the week.
Oh, yes.
I'll take that any day of the week. Because your power play can struggle, your power play can stink, but if your penalty kill is strong, that's, to me, the biggest thing that you need to have. If I had to pick one, a good power play or strong, like a damn near perfect penalty kill, I'm going to take the damn near perfect penalty kill every time. Because you don't know how many power play opportunities you're going to get in a game. You only get 1. You may only get 2. We might go in the PK 4 or 5 times. I'll take the strong PK. That doesn't mean the power play can't improve. The biggest thing for them on the power play right now, I'll wrap up Kane's talk on this. If they don't win the faceoff on the power play, the other team just sends the puck down the ice. It's getting into the zone. Just getting into the offensive zone and possessing the puck, that's what's been their Achilles heel right now. And I will say this, though. That is the biggest area I think where they're missing Martin Natchez, because Martin Natchez with his speed was able to just knife through people and get the puck into the offensive zone. That's the biggest thing that he brought that other guys on the team can't. I know his scoring touch and all that stuff was fantastic, but that is where an area of the game that doesn't necessarily show up in the stat sheet where they miss Martin Natchez and his speed. That's, to me, is something, the spot where he's missed a bunch. This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. By the way, if you miss any of the show, check out the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast wherever you get your podcast. But also, jump into the conversation. 99.9 The Fan. Go to their YouTube page. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. Jump in. Find them. Subscribe. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe there. You can watch the live show, what we're discussing right now. Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Leave your thoughts in the comments. We loved interacting and hearing from each and every single one of you. We also have a poll question that's out there. Should UNC have made the NCAA tournament? Yes or no? Right now, 52% Victoria saying no. 52% saying no. We'll dive more into NCAA tournament talk here in just a second. But Victoria, 1 week ago, free agency started in the NFL for the Carolina Panthers. 1 week ago was free agency. I know technically a week ago It was the air quotes legal tampering period, which I find funny. Hey, we can legally tamper. It's basically you can negotiate contracts and those kinds of things before officially putting pen to paper. It's just simply what it is. But Victoria, I know you're a massive Panthers fan.
Yes.
I know you're a massive Panthers fan. And I will say this. The offseason moves that they've made so far, clearly there is a plan.
Yeah.
Which is something that we have not seen up until Dan Morgan and Dave Canales, as my co-host on Panthers Playbook, Chris Lee, and I like to say, the alignment. That Dan Morgan and Dave Canales, those two guys, Dan Morgan being the general manager, Dave Canales being the head coach, along with Brant Tillis, who's kind of their salary cap guru, that they actually have a plan of what they want to do, what they want to attack in the offseason. Last year, the emphasis was offense, signing Robert Lewis and Damian Hunt, drafting Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks, JT Sanders with 3 of your first 4 picks. There was an emphasis on the offensive side of the ball to boost things up around Bryce Young. Now, this offseason, currently, they brought back Brady Christensen, Austin Corbett, Cade Mays, key offensive linemen, including guys that were depth for them. Their top 3 wide receivers are returning. You brought back Tommy Tremble. You added Rico Dowdle as a complementary piece to go with Chuba Hubbard in the background, in the backfield. There still needs to be, maybe Xavier Legette can become a number 1 wide receiver. Maybe Jalen Coker can become a number 1 wide receiver. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. But nonetheless, there still needs to be something added to it. But this offseason, the plan obviously has been adding to the defense.
I like seeing a plan.
There is 100% a plan. And what do they need to boost? Their run defense. They needed to boost the interior of that defensive line because it showed last year without Derek Brown. Derek Brown covered up a lot of holes for the defense a couple years ago because Derek Brown is one of, if not the best run defending interior defensive lineman in the NFL. I mean, the guy set a record for sacks by a defensive tackle in the NFL in a single season. Now, because he also commands a lot of attention and allowed guys back in 2023 like Frankie Louvu and others to be able to make plays from the linebacker position. But still, last year we saw Derek Brown's out, Shaq Thompson out early in the season, just like he was in 2023. So we saw that. And then also a lack of depth on the interior, lack of a true edge rush, safeties that couldn't come up and help stop the run. All of it was a disaster in the middle of the field. So what have they addressed? Interior defensive line. Bobby Brown, who is a true nose tackle, something that this defense actually hasn't had. If you want to run odd man fronts where you need a true nose tackle, that's where Bobby Brown comes in. They actually have one. They're asking Shy Tuttle to be that, but that's not Shy Tuttle's strength. You're asking someone to almost, for lack of a better term, play out of position. Bobby Brown comes in at 6'4", 328 pounds, who his forte is stuffing the run. Treshawn Wharton comes in, who is a good pass rushing defensive lineman. You also still have Derek Brown coming back with A'Shawn Robinson and Shy Tuttle being rotational pieces with all those guys. One thing that we know of seeing Ejiro Evero do with his defensive line, really all of his positions on defense for the most part, but at least in the defensive interior, likes to platoon guys depending on situation. So if it's an obvious rundown, odd man fronts possibly, you're going to see Bobby Brown out there on the field and possibly A'Shawn Robinson. Passing situations, you're going to see Treshawn Wharton, and also you're going to see maybe Shy Tuttle rotate in. And Derek Brown doesn't really have to come off the field a whole lot because he can play just about any position or any situation. Now, you're going to sub him to keep him fresh, but having that depth and the ability to rotate guys in and out, and you never know. They drafted Jaden Crumedy in the 6th round last year. You never know what he's going to potentially become. He was hurt much of last year. So adding all these guys into the mix only makes the Carolina Panthers that much better as a team defensively because guys can stay fresh. A'Shawn Robinson was just asked to do too much last year because there's nothing behind him. Same thing with Shy Tuttle. You asked Shy Tuttle to play out of position and then at the same time asked him to do too much. Shy Tuttle even took a pay cut to stay around. So what was a weakness, you have now hopefully boosted into a strength. Defensively, they've added so much. Roseboom, the off-ball linebacker that they signed from the LA Rams on a one-year deal, had 135 tackles last year. Guys, see ball, get ball. That's what he is.
Yeah.
You added depth to go along with Josie Jewell and Trevin Wallace on the interior linebacker, off-ball linebacker position. Because we saw last year, Shaq Thompson went out again, just like he did in 2023, and then Josie Jewell also got hurt. So Trevin Wallace was, as a rookie, third-round pick, was asked to do more than probably what he was needed to do at that time, or probably should have been. He's asked to do more than what he should have been. And then he also gets hurt. I mean, at a point, you were playing with like your 5th, 6th, and 7th interior off-ball linebackers. You got to have depth. You have to build up the depth. Still need work, in my opinion, at the edge. DJ Wanham, when he was actually able to come in and play last year, I thought was impactful as an edge rusher, coming off a quad injury as well as blood clot issues. It's what it is. They signed Patrick Jones as an edge rusher, situational edge rusher from the Minnesota Vikings this offseason as well. You brought back Mike Jack. They've done a lot to add to this defense, but I will say this, though, that there are holes on the defense, Victoria, that still need to be addressed.
Definitely.
In the secondary, once you get past J.C. Horn and Mike Jackson, which, by the way, J.C. Horn, we know his injury history. It's just obvious. It's out there. It's what it is. You know his injury history. After Horn and Mike Jackson on the outside, I know you have Shaw Smith-Wade that they drafted in the 5th round last year, who's probably built more to be a slot nickel corner, which is what they drafted him with the intention of him being that most likely. I know they signed Morig, the defensive back, the safety from the Las Vegas Raiders. You have Damani Richardson as your other safety, who's an undrafted rookie last year. Who else is there after that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, you still have, unless you think Damani Richardson could be one of your starting safeties, okay, even if he is, who else is there? Like, who else is behind these 5 guys that I mentioned in your secondary? Okay, you have maybe that's your good starting 5, but you need depth after that because guys are going to get hurt. It's just a simple reality.
Yeah.
It's what it is. That, to me, is still the weakness of this team, is in the secondary. Once you get past those top guys, who's there?
Yeah.
That's a major concern. Just like you still need a speed at wide receiver on the offensive side, you still need some depth, and you got to find it. It might be in the draft. It might be other guys, veteran players that might get released that you might be able to sign to add to your team via free agency. But this team still needs to find more guys on defense in terms of their secondary and edge rusher. It's far from complete, but it looks a heck of a lot better than it did 2 months ago.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the one
than
silver lining as a Panther fan, pun intended, sort of, was the fact that we have a gap that needs to be filled, and we're actually actively doing that.
Yes.
Which is newer.
It's a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You have an actual plan.
I love having a plan and following through with it.
That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Always fun when you can follow through. This is the Adam Gold Show. I almost said a different show, Victoria. This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. I have a plan. I have a plan to potentially make some money, Victoria.
Yeah.
Place your bets, but also it's that time to stretch. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Agriculture drives our local economy. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University, and we are looking for our next generation of leaders. If you want to make a difference and help feed the world, join us at the Ag Institute, where we grow successful graduates, productive futures, and rewarding lifestyles. We offer 2-year degrees and hundreds of internships. Learn more online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day, where everyone wears green and pretends they're Irish so they can drink Guinness.
Right.
That's all it is.
That really is.
That's all it is.
Eat your one Reuben a year.
Yeah, right.
Or shepherd's pie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Actually sounds good.
I know.
I take that back.
I
Let's all celebrate.
I know, right?
Let's all celebrate.
Shepherd's pie for everyone.
Shepherd's pie for everyone. That's Victoria, producing the show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Coming up here in about 3 or 4 minutes, we'll be placing our bets. But Victoria, it's that time of the show. Time to stretch.
Always good to stretch. Well, going with the theme, it is St. Paddy's Day if you didn't know that and you aren't wearing your green, which we've got that covered, so we're good to go there.
Yep.
But I was reading this about different green foods. I know we were just talking about some St. Patty's Day foods. So if you
Eat
like
your greens,
to,
folks.
yeah, if you like to partake in festivities, but you don't want to go with the usual ones, Google has actually come up with trends that people are looking up when it comes to green food in other states this year, and it's interesting. So there's a lot of green drinks. Obviously, there's the green beer. So there's that. But then other green drinks, there's green mimosas. Places like Nebraska and West Virginia are looking up green mimosas. Green Jell-O shots, because that's how they're getting down in Georgia, Virginia, and Kentucky. Irish margaritas in Texas. That's a thing.
Irish margaritas?
I guess. Is it just a regular margarita that they dye green? I don't know.
That or you just pouring Baileys in?
I do. Baileys and tequila.
I can't, like, what is that?
Green whiskey sours in Wyoming. Okay. They also have other things like green lemonade, green smoothies in other places. But a lot of people might be familiar with Shamrock Shakes.
Okay.
Have you ever had one from the Mickey D's?
I have not.
Oh, yeah.
I have not.
Yeah, they're good.
I'm not
They're
a
delicious.
milkshake person.
They're delicious. They're not bad. You have to also like mint because mint is part of that. And that is something that comes up in desserts because you can also make shamrock cookies, shakes, and grasshopper pies. Can't say I've had that.
Grasshopper pies?
That's what they're calling this.
Do I want to know?
This apparently is the top searches in multiple states are those things.
Grasshopper pies?
Yep, with shamrock cookies.
The heck is that?
And cakes. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just green. So I don't know. But they also have mint brownies. Are you a fan of mint and chocolate?
Not really, no.
I don't know.
Not really.
Like, I know a lot of people like mint chocolate chip ice cream, and I mean, I can understand. I can get down with an Andes mint every now and again, but like, I don't seek out that stuff. Also, if you're looking for a dinner that you don't want shepherd's pie or like a Reuben, but you do want green food, maybe celebrate with the kiddos, you can make green spaghetti. Arizona's looking that up. There's pea soup. Not really something that I would, maybe go for pea soup.
Okay.
Green eggs. Here's where I have to draw a line.
A little green eggs and ham?
Yep. They're doing that big time in California. Apparently. That's what this Google trend says. But I don't know. Like, you remember back in the day when ketchup was green? When they dyed the ketchup purple and green and, tried to make it, like, different for whatever reason so kids would eat? Yeah, no.
Or you can just eat broccoli if you want some green food.
Yeah,
There's that. Put some spinach on some stuff.
that.
Hey, St. Patty's Day.
Right. I'm with it. I'm with the festivities. So, yeah, there's some ideas for you if you're wanting to be festive, but you don't really want to go with the typical. You want to change it up. Maybe you could Google some of that stuff and see whatever a grasshopper pie is. One thing that you might be Googling that I had to look at a picture of this because I was like, whoa, what are we doing? Fashion always loves to turn itself around. You know, like things will come back.
Oh, yeah.
Scrunchies, fanny packs, mullets, like all that stuff. Well, I feel like this has happened before, but I don't remember it. Sweatpant jeans?
What? Go on, I'm listening. You have my attention.
I know.
You have my attention.
So they're trying to mix the comfort of sweatpants, but the look of jeans together. And they make all different kinds. Trust me, you have to Google this. They're making high-waisted, wide-legged, low-rise, torn, quote, distressed, skinny jeans. Like, they're doing the whole thing. But this is supposedly material of sweatpants.
Oh, go on. Please tell
I
me
know.
more.
Can we always wear sweatpants?
Where can I
totally
find this?
Down.
If it looks professional, I'm wearing these to work.
So they're just saying you can Google this online. There's not a specific place. And they're also saying that the prices are all over the map. There's no telling how much it'll cost. I'm telling you, when you Google this, these just look like sweatpants. They look like sweatpants with stitching that's, I don't know. I'm not shocked at this, so I'm curious to see what some of these prices are. But if sweatpant jeans are in your wheelhouse, then I guess you could go do that.
There are some like jogger cut pants that I have and some shorts that I have that look really, really nice, but the material is super nice, super fine and very stretchy, that it it feels like I'm wearing gym shorts at times, and
yeah.
it's so wonderful.
Yep. See, this is why being a girl, when you can wear leggings and stuff and yoga pants, like, I just love it.
There you go.
So, I don't know. We'll see how much they cost, but maybe you'll win some extra dough with our bets.
Yes.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you one.
All right, Victoria, time to make some money.
I know.
I'll let you go ahead and kick things off here.
Okay, so I'll kick things off all on the ice today. I like my hockey bets. So first up, the Philadelphia Flyers. We just shut them out. Well, they're going to Tampa Bay to get embarrassed again, I
Good
think.
luck.
So give me the Tampa Bay Lightning to win. They're obviously favored, so give me them to win. And you know what? I'm going to take the over 5.5 because I can see Tampa scoring 4 goals just by themselves. So that is plus 135.
Okay. Give me Nikita Kucherov to score in this game. Plus 135.
No, I
That
like
same
it.
game.
Like
Tampa Bay Lightning at home against the Philadelphia Flyers. Nikita Kucherov scores plus 135.
I like it. Well, next up, New Jersey Devils are going to be in Columbus taking on the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets are at-home underdogs with this one. The New Jersey Devils have kind of been on the struggle bus a little bit, so give me the at-home underdog Blue Jackets to win. They're plus 115.
Very nice. I like it. Give me the Toronto Maple Leafs at home against the Calgary Flames. Minus 1.5 goals at plus 130.
See, I like that too. I'm actually going to take, that's my next one. I'm taking the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm going to take the over 5.5 because I could see this being a high-scoring game. That together is plus 165.
Okay.
We're both feeling the Maple Leafs.
My final one here. For all you degenerates out there.
Uh-oh.
Preseason baseball.
Oh, yeah, we go.
Preseason baseball. The San Francisco Giants taking on the Chicago White Sox.
Boo.
Give me the Giants minus 1.5 runs at plus 145 for all you degenerates out there.
This is the one time I want the Giants to win. Cubbies won yesterday. Let's go, Cubbies. Yes, I am keeping track.
You know what? If you keep track of preseason baseball,
I'm there.
Lord bless you.
I know. Cubbies, I got to take our wins early when I can because we typically get a lot of, we'll come out in the preseason hot.
You know, you can't take those with you. You can't take spring training wins into the regular season.
Small victories.
They're small victories. They're not even victories. They don't count. They're like quad 4 games. They don't count.
We can drink our sorrows away.
Wall Sound coming up next on The Adam Gold Show. Stick around.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and this is it. It's finally here. Brackets are here, and that means upsets will follow. What have I been saying? Carolina, not only will they win their first 4 games, they're going to go to the Sweet 16, which means they are going to beat Ole Miss on Friday after they beat San Diego State. And at FanDuel right now, bet on the lowest winning seed to win, and you will win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Let's win, baby. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Hear that? That's the sound of digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. With instant wins, progressive jackpots, and bonus games right from your phone. It's nonstop chances to win like you've never seen or heard before.
Oh, yeah! Big money!
Visit nclottery.com to get in on the action. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms, Zero Resified, starting at $119 and take $20 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com and say you want the $99.9 The Fan special.
Attention watch enthusiasts and collectors. Bailey's Fine Jewelry invites you to an exclusive pre-owned Rolex event happening for 2 days only, March 21st and 22nd at their Village District location in Raleigh. Discover North Carolina's largest selection of vintage and pre-owned Rolex timepieces, featuring sought-after models like the Daytona and Submariner, and collector favorites like the iconic Pepsi and Hulk. Whether you're a seasoned collector or searching for your very first Rolex, this is your chance to explore an unmatched collection March 21st and 22nd only at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in the Village District. Visit BaileyBox.com for event details. Your perfect Rolex awaits.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's hockey season, baby. I live and work on both coasts, and here's the deal. There's nothing like Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, including half-price pizzas Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and $6 Jamesons on Sunday. Dine in, carry out. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
That's a 100% obvious call that you have to make. And if any of those 3 hadn't made that call, none of them would be working likely in the NCAA tournament. So there's no way you can't make that call. But again, it's so tough in a game like that because the only threes, as you know, Carolina made came from Elliot Cadeau, who is not necessarily a great three-point shooter. They missed a free throw before. It's just tough that in this time of year, a play like that gets isolated so badly, for that person because there were numerous mistakes.
That's in reference to UNC losing on Friday night to Duke 74-71 in the ACC Tournament semifinals. In a game with about 4 seconds left. Van Al Lubin's at the free throw line, shooting a pair of free throws. With his team down 1, he misses the first free throw for North Carolina. Jalen Withers subs into the game. He's staying there in the lane. And as Lubin is in the process of taking his second free throw, Jalen Withers steps into the lane before Ben Al Lubin releases the shot. So it's a lane violation. It happened right in front of me. I was sitting behind the UNC bench. I actually have video. I posted on X at the Fan Rookie. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. I posted a video of it on X, and Lubin makes the free throw, but Jalen Withers clearly stepped into the lane. Takes the free throw off the board. Duke gets the ball. They inbound. Concanipple gets fouled. He hits a couple free throws. And then also you got to give Duke a ton of credit because Carolina had an inbound from about mid-court with 2.9 seconds left. And they did a great job. I actually asked Tyrese Proctor about this post-game, about defending the inbound in that game. I said, hey, you guys did a good job of preventing R.J. Davis or others to get the ball. What did you see on the play? And he says, yeah, I think everyone in the entire gym knew that they were trying to get the ball to R.J. Davis, so we did our best to prevent that from happening. and that they'll take a Van Allen Lubin, who's the one that ended up getting the ball and trying to attempt a fadeaway three-pointer. It's like, we'll take a Lubin fadeaway three-pointer any day, which is 100% what you would take if you're Duke, and that's exactly what they caused to happen. Got to give Duke a ton of credit on defense on that final inbound play by UNC. So, yeah, UNC had an opportunity to take the lead in that moment. Because Lubin, again, missed the first free throw, and then you had the Jalen Withers lane violation, which takes the second one off the board. So UNC had, in that moment, a chance to take the lead, and they just didn't get it done. Now, again, who knows what happens after that, even if Lubin makes both free throws, or if Withers doesn't step in the lane and he only makes the second one, it's tied. You don't know what happens after that. Duke might go down and hit a buzzer beater, wins. Okay, or you go into overtime. Who knows what's going to happen? But you took that opportunity out of your hands. Again, this is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Speaking of Duke winning, Jon Scheyer, we're going to hear from him as we get into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
So Duke's having to deal with a little bit of adversity on the floor with Cooper Flagg injuring his ankle in Thursday's win against Georgia Tech, as well as Malik Brown, their top post player coming off the bench, also dislocating his left shoulder once again. Got more of the impression that, don't be shocked if you don't see Malik Brown. That's just kind of the impression that I got. I'm not saying that's the case, but the dude was in a ton of pain. And again, dislocating your shoulder for a second time in a short period of time, you got to worry about other structural damage, like how's the labrum, how's the rotator cuff, other things along those lines. But nonetheless, dealing with the adversity, how does Jon Scheyer, head coach of Duke basketball, feel about going into the NCAA tournament?
Well, hungry for more, and we're going to enjoy this tonight, but we know this thing is fragile, and we're going to have to move on quickly and be really humble, understanding that this doesn't entitle us to anything. But we earn this, and I want our guys to enjoy it tonight.
So that's Jon Scheyer on the Blue Devil Sports Network after their win on Saturday night against Louisville in the ACC Tournament Championship game. Jon Scheyer, also the Blue Devil Sports Network, discussed how does he feel about the way his team responded to all the challenges that they faced in Charlotte in the ACC Tournament.
We've been in some interesting positions this year, John, and down double digits. Obviously tonight we closed the half not well. We're down 5, and I challenged them at halftime just to dig down on our toughness, and I thought we were just being a little soft, and that's not typical of who we've been. And, man, I'm telling you, every step of the way, this group has responded. They respond, and in the second half, they came out, and you could tell they flipped the switch, and there was a different group.
You have to love how they responded if you're a Duke fan. And if you're not a Duke fan, you got to respect, again, dealing with all this on the fly. It's not like, okay, Cooper Flagg's going to be out. We have time to game plan. It's not. You don't have that. It's just, it's on the fly. All right, we got a game to play. Time to step up and go play. The next day, you don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to, okay, let's watch the film, see what we did wrong. Let's practice through some stuff for a couple days to get a feel. No, you got to go out and play again. There's only so much you can do in that short period of time, so you got to give a lot of kudos to them. Tyrese Proctor, Duke guard, also talked about what the team, what into winning the ACC tournament this past Saturday.
A lot of heart. We down two players. It's tough to play without those two guys, and I think just the amount of grit we showed, the togetherness we showed, we just shown the world how good we really are.
For basically any team, if you take their best player off the floor and also one of their top defenders off the floor, the top rotational pieces off the floor, not a lot of teams can survive that. That's just too much lost. But Duke, as we know, has the depth. They have the versatility with their lineup and their individual players. We saw against Georgia Tech, Cooper Flagg goes out. Who became one of the more primary ball handlers? It was Con Knipple. In the game against North Carolina, they did a pretty good job. North Carolina did preventing Concanipple from really getting anything to the lane as a dribble penetrator. So you know what he did? Came off ball and started knocking down threes as an off-ball catch and shoot. Tyrese Proctor, 6 3-pointers against Louisville. 6. A guy who also has the ability to put the ball on the floor himself. Again, lineup versatility and also the versatility of individual players. That is what Duke has. That, to me, is their greatest strength. It's not just a bunch of one-trick ponies. Now, you can say, hey, Isaiah Evans is a three-point shooter. Yes, he is. He's damn good at it. We saw him score a 2-point basket over the weekend. I was like, oh, okay. See Isaiah Evans getting in the lane. But also what they can do defensively as well. We've seen at different points this season, Mason Gillis, who's 6'6", go guard the 5. Hey, go play the 5 for us when Malik Brown was hurt. Go down and play the 5. Go guard the big men down low. And he handled himself. Got to give a ton of credit to that. Now, the NCAA tournament field is set. Who legit has a chance to win this thing? I think Duke has a legit chance as anybody to win it. Especially if Duke gets Cooper Flagg back healthy.
Yes.
And which hopefully, by all means, he is set to play in the NCAA tournament. We don't know what that's fully going to look like, but by all accounts, he is going to. Maybe he doesn't play in the first round game. You're playing against a play-in game of 16 seeds. Maybe he doesn't play Friday in Raleigh. Maybe you wait till Sunday when you're playing an 8-9 seed. Maybe that's the case. Save it, give it an extra day. But hopefully he gets stronger as the tournament goes along and he's playing at his best. Matt Jones of ESPN discussed saying really there's only 5 teams that can really win the whole thing.
I'm going to give you the 5 teams. Okay. One of them's going to win. I do this every year. Only been wrong once, 2014 UConn. My 5 teams: Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida. That's the 4 number 1 seeds. Now, I haven't picked the 4 number 1 seeds in many years, but I think this year the 4 number 1 seeds are very good. And then my 5th team, which is the one I struggled with, I'm going to put Alabama as my 5th team that can win the title because they can score so much. If you were to look at the metrics that have shown the title winners in the past, the only other teams that really would qualify on the list are Marquette and Wisconsin, and I can't pick those teams.
All right, there's one's opinion. Victoria, I have not filled out my bracket yet.
I haven't either.
I have not. I need to actually just kind of sit down and kind of look at it as a whole.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun time.
I know.
It's going to be. You know, it's interesting. They showed a graphic on CBS yesterday that over the last, I think this is 2018, the biggest upset has usually been the 6-11.
Oh, yeah.
Because normally in the past it was like 12 seeds are beating 5s. Like half of them are like, you just got to pencil in, all right, which 2 12 seeds are advancing? Like that, you had to pick 2 because that's basically what it was. It's actually been the 11s over the 6s has been the biggest upset. I love college basketball.
I know.
I absolutely love the sport. It is so much fun to watch. And that's why in 4 minutes, Victoria, we're going to discuss why March Madness in the state of North Carolina this year is truly going to be special.
From the heels,
Touchdown, Carolina!
To the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keatts fired as head coach of the NC State men's basketball team. Regardless of what you think of Coach Keatts, good coach, bad coach, indifferent, the next coach, their success relies on better financial support. NC State just hasn't had the NIL funds to compete for an ACC championship every year, and that has to change.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Adam Gold here from my friends at X Golf and Carry, the premier indoor golf experience in the Triangle. And coming up on Saturday, March 22nd from 12 to 3, I will be out there and we are going to be having a great time, just like everybody's been having there for about a year. That's right, a year, a celebration. Great golf, great games, great prizes, PGA Pro on site. We're going to have so much fun, you're going to want to pinch yourself or something. PlayXGolf.com/carry. 12 to 3, Saturday. See you there.
Which of us, detective, do you suspect is the millionaire?
The evidence is everywhere. Your diamond necklace, Monty's new yacht, and the butler's new convertible. Admit it, you're all Maximilian scratch-off winners.
Of course we are. With 25 prizes of $1 million, you could be too.
New Maximilian from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 2.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
With the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's no time like Bojangler time. Time to stop whatever you're doing and head over to Bojangles to try the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. You heard right, the Bojangler Fish Fillet Sandwich. A perfectly seasoned, light, flaky, wild-caught Alaskan pollock fish fillet sandwich. For limited time at participating Bojangles. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878. 800-948-7878.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
A lot of celebrating taking place. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day. Maybe yesterday you celebrated 316 Day, a.k.a. Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. You know, whatever it might be. Maybe this past Friday you celebrated Pi Day. But in the state of North Carolina, it is time for us to continue to celebrate the sport that is at its best here in the state of North Carolina. That is college basketball. College basketball this week, this month in the state of North Carolina should be celebrated. We have 4 schools that made the NCAA tournament. Now, 4 might be a little bit lower than sometimes that we would expect, and even lower than what we desired. Duke obviously in, North Carolina is in. Whether you think they should be or not, they're there. UNC Wilmington won the CAA, they're in. High Point wins the Big South, they're in. But also look at the programs and the schools that are coming to the state of North Carolina this year. Duke is staying here in Raleigh for the first and second round of the NCAA tournament at the Lenovo Center. Also coming to the Lenovo Center, you have Mississippi State, Baylor. It's an 8-9 game. Florida, Norfolk State. That's Florida being another 1 seed. Duke a 1 seed and Florida a 1 seed, both coming to Raleigh. Norfolk State as a 16 seed. UConn, who's won 2 straight national championships, 5 in the last 25 years, and Oklahoma. Like, there's some major college basketball brands. Major college basketball brands that are coming here. Multiple national championships at Duke, multiple national championships at Florida, multiple national championships from UConn, including recent. Get to see Hurley on the sidelines for UConn. It is antics. Just leave it at that. I can't wait to witness that. But then also,
it's gonna be good.
Add on top of that, Victoria, Duke, UNC, NC State, all of their women's basketball teams hosting first and second round game.
Yes, they are. Good job, ladies.
Let's go.
Right?
That's awesome. I love the fact that so much high-level college basketball with everything at stake is taking place here in North Carolina.
It's a fun time.
It's awesome. Our state is known for college basketball, is known for college sports. Canes are getting there. Panthers, maybe you'll get there. But college basketball is what we are known for. And this month, especially this week, if you love college basketball, and by golly, if you're listening to this program right now,
sure you do.
You better.
Yeah.
If not, you better start. Because otherwise, you're missing out.
I know. I was gonna say, jump on the wagon.
If you're gonna live in this state, you better at least appreciate it.
Yep. Go grab a cheer wine, get some barbecue.
Exactly. Get them bow boxes. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
All the things. But this is such a fun time, and if you get the opportunity to go to Lenovo or go to State, Carolina, or Duke and watch these games, do yourself a favor and go. And just, you don't have to be rooting for any of the teams. Just be part of the atmosphere and be part of the fun. That's one of the reasons why I've always loved the ACC tournament, particularly when it's in Greensboro. When it's in the state of North Carolina, I remember just being there this past week and seeing just people showing up just to watch.
Yeah, they're fun.
Just to go, hey, it's the ACC tournament. It's North Carolina, or in the state of North Carolina. I'm just going to go watch. I grew up in Virginia, right by the University of Virginia, and I actually have friends that would just go down to Greensboro. Like, oh yeah, my parents are taking the day off. Like, we're going to go Thursday to the tournament. That's what we just say. Yeah, we're going Thursday to the tournament. And they would just sit there and just go watch the games all day. That's what they would do. And if UVA won, if they got to Friday, they would maybe pay for an extra day. Like, that's just what people would do. We're going on Thursday. Or, hey, I'm going to go Friday. We're going down to Greensboro. That's all you had people to say. Hey, you going to Greensboro? Or hey, you going to Charlotte?
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
And growing up near Greensboro, it was like, hey, let's go down the road.
That's all it was. It was just, but that's all part of the community element that college basketball provides in this state. So college basketball, embrace it and love it. Let the madness suck you in. Be part of it. Now, there's some people that will say this, though, Victoria, that maybe not every school in the state of North Carolina should have been in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Including UNC. The bracket was revealed last night. We found out early in the selection show that North Carolina was one of the last 4 teams in. And we found out later they were the last team to make it into the NCAA tournament. Sean Farham, ESPN, what shocked him most about the bracket, in particularly Carolina?
One of it was that has to be a typo. North Carolina can't possibly be in this NCAA tournament field because they had ample opportunities to improve their resume. The fact that West Virginia is not with 6 quad 1 wins and North Carolina is with 1, and if they thought so highly of the ACC, how is an 18-win Louisville team an 8 seed? So if you don't value the ACC with Louisville, who won 18 games in conference play and had a great non-conference, what you're telling me is North Carolina scheduled its way in because it had the 5th hardest non-conference schedule. The problem is they only won one of those games that mattered. So, when you talk about 2 wins against the field, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And there are other teams I thought were more rewarded for this. And this is an example of why we don't need to expand the tournament. Because we're looking at this resume and going, yes, this is a tournament, the NCAA tournament team. To me, it's about being elite. This North Carolina team is not elite.
Now, whether they're elite or not, I mean, there's always going to be non-elite teams when it comes to tournaments.
Especially when you keep expanding it.
When it's 68, there aren't 68 elite college basketball teams. Let's be honest here. But when it comes to the selection process, there's always the human element. I've said it plenty of times. But there's also the on-court results have to matter. And expanding, let's say they did expand to 96 teams or whatever that they wanted to do. If they expanded, guess what? Team 97, Team 98, Team 99, Team 100 are all going to have a gripe about why they should have been in. It doesn't change. We saw the college football playoff this past year expand to 12 teams. And people are like, well, Alabama and South Carolina, they should be in, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? Well, don't go 8-4. Like, don't go lose on the road 24-3 to Oklahoma, Alabama. Like, it's the same thing applies. The results on the field, the results on the court, they all have to matter at some point. Now, you can make a justification for any number of one of these schools to get in. Whatever metric you want to pick. Well, quad ones. Okay, well, Xavier only had one quad one win. But guess what Xavier didn't have? Xavier didn't have their athletic director as the chair of the committee. The selection committee. That's the biggest thing that people are going to point to. You mentioned earlier, Victoria, it's low-hanging fruit. Well, I mean, it fell right to my feet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not low-hanging. It dropped right in front of you.
Yep.
Well, that's an easy one to pick up.
Mm-hmm. Easy target.
And understandably so.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be, I hope this changes things. I really hope it does. I was 50-50 on if UNC was going to make the tournament just because of everything else that happened around them. It's like, wow, Boise State got a big win over San Diego State. And like, well, Indiana lost a game. Xavier lost a game. North Carolina got a win over Wake, which kind of helps. So it's just kind of, where does this all fall, right? Where does everything fall? I thought it was basically a coin flip that they were going to get in. I'm not going to complain that they're in.
No.
Because
it's good for us.
It's good. Exactly. It's good for us. And it's good for the state of North Carolina. It's also good for the ACC.
Yep.
That we have North Carolina in the tournament.
That's been struggling hard this season,
right.
too.
Hey, put that all to bed. Winning the tournament.
Yep.
Put it all to bed. I thought, again, it was 50-50 that they were going to get in. But when people say, look at North Carolina's athletic director being the chair of the committee, that being Bubba Cunningham, and the fact that he benefits from this, the fact that he's stand to make, according to 247 Sports, $104,000+ by UNC making the tournament, people are going to throw up red flags. And we'll go, oh, wait a second. People are going to scrutinize and question the process, which is 100% valid to do. It's 100% valid to do. It's like, well, wait a second. Your school gets in, barely, the last school in. You're the head of the committee, and you get an extra six figures on top of it? Wait a second. Of course I'm going to look at it with scrutiny. Of course I'm going to go, hold on, wait a second. Of course. Now, if you're a North Carolina fan, you're like, hey, yo, Bubba, well done. I get both sides of it. I get all sides of it. I understand it all. I want the process to change.
Definitely.
I think there needs to be. I'm okay with having athletic directors and conference commissioners as part of the committee, but it can't be the entire group. The chair of the committee needs to be unaffiliated. Needs to be unaffiliated. I would even say the top two people, the chair and the vice chair, need to be unaffiliated. That way they have no stake in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the athletic director, if there's an athletic director of a school that is being discussed by the other committee members, that person must remove themselves. I get it, but it's still human nature.
Yeah.
The person that removes themselves from the conversation, when they come back in, they know what other schools are around them. It naturally is going to influence you in some way, shape, or form. It's just natural.
The process of determining this is so messy, too.
It is.
It's like, let's clean that up, too.
It
so there's,
is.
like, definitive answers one way or another, so we don't have this, like, gray area where you can use human error or human, perspective.
I'll say it once. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Never leave it in the hands of the judges.
Never.
Never leave it in the hands of the judges and the people making the decisions.
Don't go to decision. Ever.
Guess what? Any of these schools that have a gripe, and possibly valid ones about not getting in, win more games. You have the opportunity on the floor, on the court, to go win. You have that chance.
And they could have avoided it by doing that.
You had 4 months to do it.
Yep.
You had 4 months to do it. 4 months to do it. Look at yourself first. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. We'll have more tournament talk, including with Rob Dauster, the Field of 68, including is NC State zeroed in on the right guy for their head coaching search in college basketball. We'll have a conversation with Rob Dauster, Field of 68, next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. We are knee-deep in March. The month is crazy. Some even call it mad. Time for your college basketball promo of the week. You can get a share of $1 million in bonus bets if you bet on the lowest winning seed of the day. That's an upset you will not be upset about. See what I did there? FanDuel. Best place to bet on the tournament, FanDuel.com/AGS. Download America's #1 sports book today. FanDuel.com/AGS. It's a dog of the day. You will be happy you did it. In March, anything can happen. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
The North
Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
Dear North Carolina, for 70 incredible years, you've been by our side. From Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to the wonders of Antiques Roadshow, from This Old House to NC Weekend, we've explored, learned, and grown together. Because of your support, PBS North Carolina has gone beyond the screen, inspiring, educating, and entertaining in classrooms, at home, and on the go. Celebrate with us when you watch new programming on PBS NC or stream anytime on the free PBS app. Learn more about PBS North Carolina at pbsnc.org.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
This is the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Being joined now here on the Adam Gold Show by Rob Dauster, Field of 68. Rob, you and I had a chance to meet and chat at the ACC Tournament in Charlotte this past week. We had conversations about what NC State might be doing in terms of their coaching search. Who might be the guy? But, Rob, I want to know, now that the field is set, the Field of 68 is set, Rob. North Carolina in. Good call or bad call?
Oh, man. Well, it depends on is this a North Carolina fan station? Is this a state fan station? What am I working with?
Hey, you're across the state of North Carolina. You've got it all, my man. You've got it all.
I'll say this. You could justify any team's inclusion based off of whatever metric you want to use, right? If you want to say that their net and their KenPom was high and they had a high strength of schedule and they challenged themselves and they're playing better of late, then you could justify that team being included. If you want to say, well, Indiana had more quad one wins and they didn't have as bad of a loss and they played in a better league, you could justify that too. If you want to say that West Virginia had to be in because of what they did, you could say that there's enough stats you could justify any decision that you want to make. My biggest issue with the way that process played out is that the athletic director for North Carolina was the chair of the committee. And there's no possible way that you can make a controversial decision like that, have the athletic director be the chair, and then sit there and say, yeah, well, he wasn't in the room when they discussed North Carolina. Yeah, well, he was in the room when they discussed every single other team. And he knows all those people, and they're friends. And it's human nature to not want to disappoint the people that you just spent an entire week with. So the fact that he was the AD and they got in controversially is just one of those things where you're never going to be able to have the appearance of having something on the up and up. It's always going to, the conspiracy theorists are going to come out. And that's my single biggest issue with this process. It's not that the way that the decision was ultimately made. It's who was in that room when that decision was made, and the fact that it's controversial, and the fact that there's absolutely no way you can convince me that having the North Carolina AD on that committee as the chair of the committee didn't impact it in some way. And that, to me, is the only part that's unfair about that decision.
I'll be honest. I 100% agree with you in that regard. I mean, it's just human nature, and that's the thing. I think the biggest thing that needs to change, Rob. By the way, Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, is that there needs to be a neutral party as the chair, like someone that is not tied in as an athletic director or a commissioner of a conference. There has to be more non-affiliated people in the selection committee.
I'll tell you this. Here's my take on it, and tell me if you think this is crazy. So the guys that we have doing we have a bracketology podcast called Fielding the Stage. Lucas Harkins, it's Brad Wachtel, it's Rocco Miller. And those three guys spend more time thinking about this freaking bracket than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And they can cite stats. They can read your stuff. They know, like, Rocco's done a deep dive and a study of every single decision that's ever been made. And he has, like, all the historical markers figured out in the database. Those guys, along with, you know, the likes of Joe Lenardi, along with the likes of Brad Evans, along with the likes of all these bracketologists, Jerry Powell, like, at every place you go, all of those guys have more information on what the bracket should look like and spend much more time watching national college basketball than the people that are on that selection committee. And the best part about it is none of them are affiliated with anybody. So at the very least, you let some of them in the room. Let some of them have a voice, because those guys care about it way, 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 way more. I promise you, way more. And they don't have any kind of affiliation. So that's where I'm at with it, man. These bracketologists that actually know what they're talking about. Let's get them in the room. Let's get them on the committee. Let's get them making the decisions. But I'll tell you this, Dennis. The other thing that really irks me is we spend, and I know it's big because it's the state of North Carolina. North Carolina's the team, right? But we spend so much time talking about the last team in and the first team out when, like, let's be frank. If you are on the cut line, if you're West Virginia or if you're Indiana or if you're Boise State or if you're North Carolina, like, the truth is you didn't do enough to get into the tournament if you are one of those teams that's fighting for a spot in the playing game. And if you really had a problem, like if you're Indiana and you really had a problem with where your seating is, you know what? Maybe you show up against Louisville. Maybe you show up in some of those games where you got 30-pieced at home, right? Maybe you show up against Illinois. If you're mad about not getting in and you're West Virginia, right, like maybe you don't lose to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. You want to get in the tournament, go out there and play your way in, because the teams that are – like Oklahoma got in with a 6-12 record in the SEC. What are we talking about? Like, we can complain about it, and we can say there's problems with the system, but if you didn't get in the tournament, man, you didn't do enough, and it was easy to do enough this year to get in the dance.
And Rob, I'll say this. It's just like you hear people in combat sports say, never leave it in the hands of the judges, never leave it in the hands of the officials. And that's exactly what all these schools did. That's exactly what North Carolina did it. Xavier, San Diego State, West Virginia, they all left it in the hands of the judges when they could have taken care of business on the court throughout the entire year. They had 4 months to do it. They all had 4 months to do it, including the teams that were just left out and the teams that barely got in. That's
so what you're saying is Darian DeVries should have knocked out Bubba Cunningham. Is that my reading the lines there?
I mean, I won't say no. I'm kidding. But that's just where we are. That's just where we are. Rob Dauster, Field of 68, joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. All right, Rob, real quick. I know there's a lot of coaching searches that are going to be starting to take place. I know UNLV just opened up. Iowa opened up. And here in the state of North Carolina, NC State has opened up. I know Will Wade, McNeese State, they're in the NCAA tournament after winning the Southland Conference. I mean, that name has been pretty tied in heavily with NC State so far. You and I were talking in Charlotte, the ACC tournament. You feel like Will Wade might be, at least personality-wise, the right fit for NC State.
Yeah, I think he just makes a lot of sense there, right? Like there's a little bit of the underdog mentality. There's a little bit of, there's two blue bloods that are NC State's rivals, and I think Will Wade would absolutely relish the idea of being the team that comes in and, and beats both of them and then rubs their noses in it and then lets everyone know, hey, look, you know what? No one thought that we could win this, and we just won the ACC. Like that is the kind of stuff that Will Wade lives for.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking with him about the way that he schedules with McNeese State, and he said, yeah, we'll roll up on a bus. We'll come in there. We'll beat your behinds in your own gym, and then we'll take the bus home and eat, $2 footlongs on the way home from Subway, right? Like that's just his mentality. Like he doesn't care about anything else but getting a bunch of dudes that want to get out there and ball and hoop and compete at the level that he wants to compete at. And he's got a personality that I think the state fan base, at least the online portion of the state fan base, would really, really embrace once you get to know him. But the problem is, what you're going to run into with Will Wade is I feel like he's still kind of waiting out to see if he can get Indiana. He's still waiting out to see if he can get leverage with a place like North Carolina. Let's just say, for example, UNLV comes in and says, we can offer you this amount of money, we can offer you this amount of NIL, and we have this booster that's worth $1 billion that's willing to turn, whatever you want, like give you whatever you want, make sure that you're not going to be starved for money, to make sure that you're going to be able to go out and get the players that you actually want to be able to get and be able to pay them. And then what he could do is go to NC State and say, hey, look, this is what I have from them. You got to be able to match this, or you know what I mean? Like I think he knows that he's going to be in demand in this cycle, so he's probably playing the long game there. But wherever he ends up going, that dude is going to win. There's no doubt about it in my mind. That dude is going to go somewhere and he's going to win games.
All right, well, the question is, real quick, we have about 2 minutes left here. Is NC State willing to play that game? Are they willing to actually put up the resources that Will Wade has laid out and said to you guys, to Jeff Goodman at Field of 68, saying, hey, I need X amount of dollars, NIL, all this other support. Is NC State willing to do that?
I mean, that's $1 million question, right? And I think the one thing that's hard is, and I think we're seeing this with the way that the Florida State hire went. I think we're seeing this with the way that the Miami hire went, where I don't know how long this bubble is going to last, where coaching salaries are going to be astronomical. I think in the next 5 years, what's going to happen is you're going to see more of a situation where the 6-year deals at $3.5 million per year for coaches are going to kind of go away. You're going to get more like 3-year deals, 1.5, and then they're going to take that other money and start putting it towards NIL. So my guess is Will Wade is going to try to find a way. This might even be the last year that's available. So I think he might be waiting just to get the most guaranteed money he can, because this might be the time for him to be able to cash out. You know, if you look at the way that NBA coaches are paid, you look at the way that NFL coaches are paid in comparison with the athletes, and it's completely out of whack for what college football and college basketball looks like. And the hard part is, does NC State, does a team in the ACC have the budget to be able to spend that much money on a coach when they also got to spend a certain amount of money on NIL to keep that coach happy? That's the $1 million question. I don't know. I got to check out you know what? Let's roll over there to NC State's athletics office, and let's just ask them if we can see their books.
Yeah.
You with, Dennis?
Hey,
we'll roll up there and we'll just say, hey, look, open it up. I just want to see where your funding's coming from. I want to see how much NIL you're giving to football versus basketball. I think they'd let us in. We just got to ask nicely, right?
I think they would. Well, I mean, I'm going to be here for the NCAA tournament, so it's here in Raleigh. So yeah, come on down and you can crash at my place, and we'll definitely make that happen.
Hey, take care of my Huskies down there. Take care of UConn for me, all right? Can you get some of these NC State fans to show up? Look. The Wolfpack, Huskies, they kind of look similar. They're both dogs. They're both aggressive. Like, you know, back me up a little bit here. I need a loud UConn crowd there in Raleigh.
Okay, well, there's the cry from Rob Dauster, Field of 68. Give him a follow on X at Rob Dauster. Rob, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, my man.
Appreciate you, man.
Big thanks to Rob Dauster joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. The discourse, I guess you could say, Victoria, the growing sentiment towards North Carolina, it's actually reaching politicians now, Victoria.
Wow.
This is actually, we're going to play this audio. Governor Patrick Morrisey, who is the governor of the great state of West Virginia. Governor Morrisey, and Attorney General J.B. McCuskey announce actions against the NCAA Selection Committee. Victoria, let's play the audio. Here's Patrick Morrisey, the governor of West Virginia, talking about WVU being left out of the tourney.
Well, West Virginia had 6 Quad 1 wins, and that was combined with an undefeated record against Quad 3 and Quad 4 opponents. 3 wins against top 10 teams, and the 24th toughest schedule in America. West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels. Now, who was the last team to get into the tournament? Ahead of the Mountaineers. That would be the University of North Carolina. Now, let's see how their resume stacks up. The Tar Heels went 1-12 in Quad 1 games, and even had a Quad 3 loss. And we keep hearing about the importance of these Quad 1 wins, but UNC couldn't even get more than 1. They also had the 25th toughest schedule in America, right behind WVU. Now, here's something you may not know. UNC had representation in the room during the selection process. Let me repeat that. UNC had representation in the room during the selection process. Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director for UNC. He also happens to be the head of the tournament selection committee. Now, it's being reported by a number of outlets that Cunningham had a significant bonus incentive, at least $70,000 to get into the tournament, arguably more if they advanced. with more incentives on the way. And I want folks to let that sink in for just a minute.
Okay. This is wonderful. From an entertainment standpoint, this is absolutely amazing.
He feels some type of way.
I mean, totally understandable.
Yes.
Like, totally understandable. But, man, the fact that Governor Morrissey and the Attorney General of the state of West Virginia announced action against the NCAA Selection Committee. I'm curious where they think this is all going to play out.
Yeah.
I really am curious because guess what? The field's set. Games are going to start getting played. Not going to just magically insert a school into the tournament, you know. Oh, it's Sweet 16. Hey, WVU, you go replace that school. Ain't going to happen. Now, keep in mind, NCAA Tournament Selection Committee members serve 5-year terms. This is by the way, Brian Murphy, WREL sports fan, WREL sports investigative reporter located in Raleigh, who's been on this show many times with Adam Gold. Wrote this in a story on WREL Sports Fan about how this is the final year of Cunningham's term serving on the selection committee. He points out in 2023 that North Carolina was one of the first teams left out of the field in 2023 when Bubba Cunningham was in the room. Now, was he the chair? No, but again, this thing's a little bit different. I find it pretty remarkable about how we have seen so many people use the term miscarriage of justice. I'll use a quote here from Governor Morrissey of West Virginia saying, quote, "This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels."
He used robbery.
And miscarriage of justice.
He did.
He continued to say this: North Carolina can't possibly be in the NCAA tournament field because they had ample opportunities to improve their resume. The fact that West Virginia is not with 6 quad 1 wins and North Carolina is with 1. That is something actually we've heard ESPN's Sean Farnham say. I should take that back. ESPN's Sean Farnham said that. John Rothstein of CBS Sports say, quote, "If the criteria for the NCAA tournament in terms of getting an at-large bid is to beat other NCAA tournament teams, how in the world could North Carolina get an at-large bid over Indiana or over West Virginia?" Again, so I have seen the term. Even John Rothstein, that quote I just said of him, even posted on X with the video of him talking about it, saying it's a miscarriage of justice. I'm sorry. This is a sports selection committee where humans make decisions. No one's on trial. This isn't a jury. This isn't a court case. It's people making decisions about what they feel is the best regarding the NCAA tournament. That's what it is. So let's pump brakes on this whole miscarriage of justice. It's a miscarriage of justice. Again, as Governor Morrissey said, quote, "This is a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels." I'm not saying there isn't influence, but let's pump the brakes on the terms that we use, okay? Miscarriage of justice. Last time I checked, someone isn't going to jail.
It's a little dramatic.
It's a little dramatic. Little dramatic with that. I get why you're upset. And you know what? Valid.
And guess what?
Valid for being upset.
The ACC understands that too with FSU and football.
Oh, yes.
Recently. So it's not like we don't see that too here.
And you know who was the head of that committee? Was Boo Corrigan.
Right.
Who's an ACC guy. And Florida State didn't get in a couple years ago in the college football playoff. Again, pump brakes here, people. Pump breaks in terms of using the phrases miscarriage of justice. I will say it again. I've said it once before. I'll say it again. As I cough. Thank you, pollen.
Yes, pollen.
Every single one of these schools on the bubble had an opportunity to improve their resume. Governor Morrissey even said it. They had a chance to improve their resume. Other people are saying it. So did West Virginia. So did they. So did North Carolina. So did Xavier, Indiana, Boise State.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them had that opportunity. 6-10 in quad 1 games. Well, you went 4-3 in quad 2s. You can't neglect that fact either. And Xavier also only one win in quad 1 games. They had 2 quad 2 losses. Carolina 8-0 in the quad 2. Again, you could pick and choose any metric that you wanted to justify how you feel. And you have every right to feel angry. Every single right to feel angry. But every one of these schools had a chance. Don't do it. Yeah, you got a home win against Iowa State. Great. Yeah, you went on the road and you played Arizona. You lost. I understand all those things, but let's be honest. West Virginia still had opportunities to improve their resume by winning more games. Simple as that. You don't lose to Colorado. Don't lose that game. You had a chance on the road at Baylor, who's a 9 seed in the tournament. Could have won that one. Don't lose at home to Arizona State. All opportunities that you had to improve your resume. Every single one of these schools. Go win games on the court. Simple as that. Don't go 19-13. Go 22-10. Go 22-10. You know why? Win the damn game. The results on the floor have to matter. Every single one of these schools that's griping about not getting in or maybe just barely squeaked in, whether you had influence from a committee member or not, put themselves in that position to be judged. Simple as that. You put yourself in that position to be judged. And don't be shocked when the judgment doesn't come down in your way. You put yourself in that spot. This has been the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria producing the show. By the way, Adam will be back on Wednesday, so you'll be left with me again.
Just in time for Chip Patterson.
I never get a chance to talk to Chip.
I know.
I never get that opportunity. Adam just takes it from me. The tournament's going to be awesome. Have fun. The field is set. It is what it is, whether you like it or not. Whether you like seeds, where they are, whether you like teams that got in or not, it is what it is. Now go fill out your brackets. Victoria, I think tomorrow we should give our Final Four predictions.
Oh, okay.
Give our Final Fours. If you missed any of the show, check it out on the